Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Grand Labyrinth Heist, a game about heisting a grand bank in Labyrinth. I know, it's very self-explanatory. My name is Rand, I'm your GM, I use he, him pronouns, and I will be running this game, which is part of the Nerdsmith Presents Limited series of games that they're doing this year, which is an opportunity to try out different systems, different players, different GMs on the channel. So we are using the Leverage RPG system, which is a dice pool system all about capers, cons, and heists. So perfectly set up for this sort of a game. Welcome to the third session. So if you've missed the first two, don't worry, you can probably pick up what's going on, but you might want to go back and catch up after the fact. This is a steampunk adventure set on a mysterious floating sky city full of equally mysterious technology, strange robots, and general Victorian nonsense, foolishness, and shenanigans. Let's introduce our players. I'll give a quick summary of what happened last time. Thank our sponsors, and we'll jump right in.
Hey, well, I am Kay Purcell. I use she and they pronouns, and I'm going to be playing Aldero's Wright, the Master of Disguise Grifter. He and they pronouns.
Hello, my loves. My name is Keon. I go by Brother Keon on the internets, and I will be playing Franklin this evening. He and him pronouns.
Hi there, I'm Jenny. I use she, they pronouns, and you are going to be seeing me play Josie, the mastermind of this little team, and I'm very excited to play.
Hey everybody, I'm back. I'm Derek. I use they, ze, and he pronouns, and I will be playing Duolo, our Clockmen hitter who uses they and ze pronouns tonight.
And I'm Raven Evermore. I use she and they pronouns, and I'll be playing Jinx, who also uses she and they pronouns, and she is the thief of the group. I'm very excited to actually be getting into that thief role this session. It's going to be very fun.
Should be good. All right, so a quick shout out to our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, home to all sorts of great dice and dice-related accoutrements. Go use the code Nerdsmith, for 10% off your next order, and be sure to let them know that we sent you. Hero Forge, so it's an online character design application, lets you create and buy customized tabletop miniatures. And they release new features every Tuesday for their pro subscribers. Use the link in the chat to get your pro subscription and help support the network. World Anvil. World Anvil is a world building tool that you can use to set up your homebrew world, organize your book, whatever it is you're making that has a lot to organize in terms of world building. Go for that. If you like, check it out, and you can do that with a Sage membership. Check our link in the chat. Also, again, a big thank you to our artist Jay for the amazing busts. And thank you in general to the network for running a really awesome show. We're having a great time. So, what happened last time? Well, our crew got together. You agreed you're going to heist the Grand Labyrinth Bank, an unheistable bank, a bank that has never been robbed. You're sure that this is going to go well. In order to do this, you have decided that you're going to open a bank account at the bank using proceeds of money that you would get from a underground pit fight that you were going to have Julo take part in. Unfortunately, shortly before the fight was due to take place, Julo overheated and had to be reset to factory settings. A process that takes about 24 hours, give or take, and you had to figure it out without your hitter. So while they sat in Franklin's flat, downloading updates, you all headed out to the Cannibal Club, a secret fight pit / punk venue underneath a tattoo shop in Spencer Lane, where you met Eddie, the bouncer who paints watercolors at the same time. Heading into the venue, you took part in a fight that ended in the death of another woman, much to the disappointment of all of the thirsty lesbians of the cast, because she was a very large, hot, muscly lady. But that's all right, because it means that Josie survived. You guys made quite a lot of money.
I had no business being in or winning that fight.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
Very badly. Very badly. Franklin ran into his ex, who we don't know if he still likes him or wants him dead. We're not 100% sure which way that pendulum's swinging, or if it's just swinging so quickly between the two ends that he doesn't know either. So we met Kelly, the demolitions expert, who used to be Franklin's guy. Leaving after that successful night, we know that Alderos and Josie went home and had a private conversation, as the party likes to say. Jinx headed home with Christian, attempted to have a private conversation, and was told not until marriage, because this is the Victorian era, and people don't just do that.
They do if they read banned books, I'm just saying. Okay,
well, Christian may be a cannibal, but they also have some standards of dignity, so leave them alone. And Franklin went to go investigate where Kelly is now living, and then head home to think sad thoughts and make little machinery for himself. The next morning, you all reconvened and decided that you were going to head into the Labyrinth Bank, and just as you were having this conversation, the news came from outside that the Queen is dead. Long live the Queen. Which means that there is going to be a official state funeral tomorrow, and then the actual coronation of the new Queen will be the day after. So you have two very excellent distractions that could be used for various chicanery and shenanigans, depending on what you guys organize. But in terms of the bank being open, that would be today. And from there, we will pick up, actually, with Julo. Julo, what have you been dreaming about?
Static. Julo doesn't, whether they dream or not, they don't understand it. Usually it comes in, funnily enough, like sounds. They don't really picture it, but I think as they awaken, there's like a steam release and a whirring as they just, they kind of like Undertaker sit straight up and are like looking around.
So interestingly, as a Clockman, when this sort of restart occurs, it is often because a new command has been entered from the makers, the people who originally created the artifact. Some time delay command has been activated, which is now important to keep the artifact running. So a new rule has been instituted, you've been asked to perform a new function, something along those lines. But what's very strange is as you wake up, you can't pin what the new rule, the new function is, which makes you think it must be something that is going to activate later. And the reason I mention this is because we had a consequence a few sessions ago that never came up. And as such, I am going to rewrite that consequence to be something that might come up. Because Franklin
ominous.
Organized a loose bolt in Julo's
oh yeah,
that did happen.
In Julo's
sorry, buddy.
Casing. I'm going to change that instead to unknown rule, and that means that at some point I'm going to turn to you and be like, you can't do that. That's against the rules. And you won't know why.
That's so
Also,
mean.
I love that. Also, is it morning when I come to?
It is, yeah. It's very early morning.
Okay.
Sort of 7 to 8 a.m.
I'm going to stand up, and I say stomp purely because it's just how Jula walks.
Yeah.
Stomp into the like kitchen area, get a glass, and like get some water, and then pour it out onto the floor, and then put the glass back, and then kind of like see if Franklin is around.
No sign of him up here. But you feel that little like check mark sort of appear in your brain as you finish that function and put the glass in.
All right. Day started correctly.
You can hear some, not like disturbance, but there's noise outside, and you think that maybe that's part of what like drew you out of that sort of standby state. You can hear lots of bells outside, like all of the church bells are ringing. You can hear people shouting in the streets. It's not the sort of chaos where you're like, oh no, there's a riot. It's the sort of chaos where you're like, oh, maybe there's a wedding nearby. Maybe like something is happening,
Monumentous occasion happening outdoors. I will go check it out. And I'll make my way. Is Franklin's door locked?
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and say that getting out of Franklin's place is nowhere near as hard as getting into Franklin's place.
Yeah.
Just because Franklin also had like things to do. Like he's a smart enough dude that he's like, if I need to leave in a hurry, I have to be able to leave in a hurry. So he's got the equivalent of, on the inside you could just pull it all back and leave, but on the outside you have to lock, unlock, change this, change that thing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, Jula just will go out, like go downstairs and outside to see what is happening.
As you come down the stairs and you emerge into the main tap room of the sticky gear, you will see the other 4 people who you've sort of gotten to know today and yesterday, all seated around a table, looking fairly surprised by whatever is going on outside. Could I get a quick description of everyone sort of in this moment? What are you doing as you've just heard that news that the Queen is dead?
Plotting.
Okay.
The only thing that it means to her is that's going to be a really good distraction.
Yeah, I think Al is running through the various personas that they have and thinking like, is there any information about this that we need to get, and which of my personas would I use to get it? Still.
Yeah, I think Franklin would also be plotting and trying to figure out which security system, and if we're doing a funeral and a coronation, physical security is probably going to be a lot lower now. We're probably going to be relying a lot more on tech.
Now
to get around.
You've mentioned that, I would like you to do a hacker intelligence check.
Okay. Is this about security?
It is, yes.
Can I add my D6?
Yes, you can.
Yay.
Just a reminder for the viewers at home, each of our characters has 2 specialities. Whenever something is relevant to those specialities, they get to pull in an extra D6.
I got a 13. No
13.
ones.
Well, I don't think there's a way you can fail this, but let's just... Yeah, you are fine. So, as you have that thought of like, okay, security's going to move, there's the funeral, then there's the coronation, you then remember something that sort of all kids are sort of taught this in their, you have to go to school until you're 6, you got to learn your reading, writing, arithmetic before you head out into the world of work. The coronation jewels are kept in the bank.
You said the coronation what?
The jewels for the coronation, the crown, the scepter, the orb, are kept inside the bank. And usually they have to be kept under incredibly high security because they're not meant to be touched for, 50, 60 years at a time. But they're going to have to start bringing them out of those secure locations to somewhere more accessible before the coronation. Why rob a bank of, £600 when you could steal some items that, even if you just pried the diamonds off and sold them individually, you could have £10,000?
Do I know that if all these here and tried to sell them here, would we get caught? Or is there someone I know that would be a good place to sell these to, and because they don't care?
So, look, amongst poor people, the working class, there are sort of two very distinct camps. There's kind of like worship of the royalty, people who are like, oh, they're so great, I love the queen. And then there are people like, fuck the royal family. They've never done anything for me. Yeah. And a few people who are in either camp. Look, trying to sell an entire item here, you'd be fucked. But say if you pried a few diamonds out of one of the items, used them to get the money to get out of the city, and then went somewhere else and sold them to, like, the royalty of a different place, you would probably be able to sell them intact, which means you would be able to sell them for much more money. So it'd just be a case of, which of these items am I willing to sacrifice to get the seed money to get me out to be able to make a lot of money?
Okay. With that information, sorry, dealing with nonsense. Franklin kind of pauses, and
as you look up, you see Julo coming down the stairs out of your flat. They look shinier than the last time you saw them, like they've been recently polished. All of the dents and nicks that were in their chassis seem to have just disappeared overnight, and their eyes are glowing just a slightly brighter shade of yellow than they were yesterday. They essentially look like they've spent a night at the Clockman spa. Like, the turn off and back on was very good for them.
Did you guys give Dulo a refurbishing while I was down here?
Jinx is like mid pulling the coffee mug up to her mouth when all of that happens. And she's kind of, I sure didn't.
We've been here with you.
I figured as much, but
elsewhere.
They look immaculate and also standing.
You said they would come up in 24 hours, didn't you?
But not, I didn't know they would have a shinier look to them. This is new. Dulo?
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I feel good.
You look good.
Very good, actually.
Thank you.
It's like a new model.
I don't quite understand what you mean by that, but thank you. I know it is a compliment.
So for Julo, it makes sense to you that if you restore to factory settings, of course the physical body also gets restored to factory settings. Why wouldn't it work that way? Even if it doesn't make sense to the humans here, it does make sense to you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to break the laws of physics and revert back to a factory fresh body just from hitting a button. That's crazy. Why wouldn't it do that?
Good shit.
Why can't we do that?
Please, I would love to hit a button right now. But as Dulo's coming in, and we have our introductions, I would bring up the the information to Rosie. They're going to be moving the jewels for the coronation. It would probably be better to get them off of someone there instead of trying to rob the entire bank.
Oh, damn, but that takes the fun out of it, doesn't it?
You get to rob a royal family.
And?
Where's there no fun in that?
I mean, a little.
I vote we do both.
I like that
I
plan.
like both.
I like doing both.
Both is good.
That
Both
makes
is
it
good.
more difficult and more interesting.
Are you okay, Al?
I will go along with whatever the group decides, but I don't see why we need to take a more difficult route.
Up to you,
Or-
boss.
Fun.
So, just to put it back out there, once again, I'm not in this for the money. I don't care. You can keep it all. I want to do this to say that I did.
Fair enough.
I want to do it because it sounds fun.
I am
I
in it
would
for the money.
do it because it sounds interesting, but it would also help Franklin.
If shit starts to get too hairy, y'all can get the hell out of Dodge. It's fine by me.
Okay.
How much will
So-
these coronation jewels split security?
You standard security is yet you haven't had a chance to go in and do your scouting maneuvers. So you would need to know that first, and then you could probably try and estimate how that would happen, sort of what will happen.
That would make things interesting, though. Because if I were some sort of security and I'd realized that the royal jewels were taken, I would expect that the perpetrators wouldn't be going back into the bank. I'd be
Exactly.
looking elsewhere.
This is true.
Also, just for our Labyrinth natives, the idea of stealing the coronation jewels is sacrosanct. Like, you can't do that. That's crazy. That's beyond, like, the way the royal family is treated here is very similar to the way the British royal family was treated back in this age, where they were not quite on the same level as, like, their gods or whatever, but there was definitely a, like, the church and state are intertwined. The queen is the head of the church. She is also the head of the state. You don't do things to, like, the royal family. You don't do that. So it's the sort of thing that if someone was like, oh, I'm the person who stole the crown jewels, that would be legendary status amongst the underground.
Yeah.
And also the sort of thing that will get you thrown in prison for 100 years in polite society.
Let's get legendary, guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
Yeah.
a surefire way to make Jinx want to do it and say, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Watch me.
I thought that might be the case.
Yeah.
Josie, I know you are not familiar with our society, but stealing the crown jewels is a much greater bragging point than robbing the bank.
I understand.
I still think robbing the bank would be easier, but
I thought it would just be a bigger mark. That is all.
Oh,
But-
it is. I agree.
Doing both would make nobody able to brag over you.
Mm-hmm.
Al just has this look of, I know better than to tell her what she wants.
Boy drank his respect women juice.
It was one night.
One night
You
can change
can
a life.
still drink your
True.
respect women juice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, next time somebody would be able to say that they did both would be well after we're all dead.
Very true.
And they also wouldn't be able to say they did both because we would have the jewels.
They'd
Well,
have
I
to
mean-
take them from us.
I assume they'd probably get new jewels. Like they're the royal family. They'll probably, steal them from somewhere else.
That'd be true.
It certainly won't be the historical ones, though.
No.
And these people do like old relics and old money.
Okay.
Either way, we need to
So-
scout.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
And Franklin pulls out the address that he received that goes to Kelly's house. And if we are going to open a bank account like we had discussed, it would be better to use an address that none of us are associated with. And he slides it over across the table.
So I will just point out, where Kelly is living is not a real address, and it's in a very poor part of town. It's the sort of thing that the bank would immediately be like, "You're not opening a bank account under that."
Okay. So still Stump Street is a nix. Got it.
Stump
Wait,
Street
are there any
is
businesses
a very poor
on-
part of town, and then Kelly isn't even on the top layer of Stump Street, which would already not be good enough for this bank. He's on like the third layer down.
Okay.
Are there any rich people that we don't like? I mean, like
can-
specific rich people?
I can ask. I have an old friend. Do you know Myrtle, Jinx? I don't know if you know Myrtle. I can ask Myrtle. She knows the comings and goings of the nobilities. Maybe a place has recently gone up for sale or come off the market.
Yeah. Just by reputation, I don't think I've ever actually spoken to them.
She's good.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
All right, so we've got Al going to speak to Myrtle. What's everyone else going to do during this time?
Question. The bank itself, the surrounding buildings, is there any way to get like rooftop access to the surrounding buildings? And would those roofs be close enough to potentially go from one roof to the bank's roof?
Do you want legal access or just you can access it?
Preferably legal access, but I'm not picky.
All right, give me intelligence plus thief.
Intelligence and thief.
DC is
that one.
12.
All right. Could I argue that I could use MacGyvering in figuring out
No.
how to? Okay. How to rig up ways to get it.
So quick with that. Wow.
With no.
That was an 8 and what is
They asked for legal ways.
14.
14, nice. So you would know the best legal rooftop there is the State Library, which isn't a neighboring building like side to side, but over the road. So it does cross a main thoroughfare of quite a broad street. But that's sort of the best line of sight on the Grand Labyrinth Bank. It definitely would get you a good view. It's taller than the bank, so you would get a good view of like what their rooftop situation is if you were just trying to like gather information about the access to the bank. You could definitely go there, gather some information, and sort of try and figure out from there what your best route of sneaky access would be.
Okay. I think that's probably what Jinx will do. She'll relay that to everybody, and she's going to run back to her place first and get like a dark outfit, like all in black with like a black sort of like a I don't know if they would
Like
have
a little peaked cap. But
yeah, like something that kind of obscures the face that looks like somebody in mourning would wear.
Okay, so like a little veil and
Yeah, veil. Thank you. I don't know why I could not think of that word. So she's gonna wear that, so that she looks like one of the, I'm sure, lots of people mourning the royal family.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we should probably do that, shouldn't we? Armbands and all that.
So we've
Just
got
play the
Al
part.
going to speak to Myrtle, Jinx going to check out the state library. What have we got Franklin, Josie, and Julo doing?
Josie's probably going to go with Al just so that people aren't walking around by themselves.
Okay.
It's funny because I was gonna have Duelo go with Al,
Oh,
just because it's the less conspicuous thing, and Duelo is not for sneaky stuff due to being so loud, and Jinx needs a little more sneak on her side with what she's doing. So
Franklin is gonna go with Jinx.
Alrighty.
Hell yeah.
Team Chaos going to the library.
Yes. Here for it.
And the romantic interest plus robot going to speak with Myrtle.
I've got a
It's
posse.
Copper
This is going to be
Pyramid all over
interesting.
again.
no private conversations while I'm around.
Love it.
Oh.
Love it. Chaperoned.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna roll a dice. Odds will start with Myrtle, evens will start with the library. And we're gonna go to the library first.
Wait.
Awesome.
Alright. So Jinx, you are dressed up as a proper lady in mourning garb. Which isn't super unusual for you. Like, you do occasionally have to bow to society's whims and dress the way they kind of expect someone to dress.
Yes.
If only so you can go unnoticed in a crowd to rob people.
Exactly.
And Franklin, have you bowed to society's expectations and found yourself a mourning armband or anything like that? Or are you just, fuck it, I hate the rules and everyone can know?
Only to make life easier in this situation, Franklin has pulled his hair all the way back, so he's got like a little big afro ponytail thing going on, and kind of like put the armband on and just very solemn, took off the goggles, still wearing his apron, but he looks a lot more prepared to cry if he has to.
Yeah. Ready to go. Has stuck a little bottle of eye drops into a pocket just in case.
I was about to ask if there was a place that I could get an onion on the way.
Yeah, absolutely. You can
Perfect.
just stop by a grocery store, pick up an onion on your way through. Love it. So headed to the State Library. The State Library is a beautiful building. Franklin, you've definitely been here a bunch of times. It's one of those places where it's like, if you sign up for a library card, you can go in for free. They're open from dawn till dusk. There are reading rooms. There are books. Like, they keep an eye on you to make sure you don't steal any of the books. But it's essentially a great public resource. Support your local libraries. But yeah, it's a lovely place. You've definitely used it before for information gathering. They have a bunch of homes of knowledge on different engineering things. Like, they don't supply any education, but it is access to information if you have the ability to understand it. So you would be quite familiar with this place. Jinx, you might be familiar with it because during winter it is heated. There are lots of comfortable seats. There are a lot of books, including they do have a room full of books that are not open to the public that I'm sure you have snuck into and read the books because you're not meant to be allowed to read these books.
Yep.
So this is a place that you're both fairly familiar with.
Okay. Do they happen to have public records, blueprints to important buildings in the city?
I think we're just having a technical difficulty. We've lost Keon.
Oh, no.
So I don't know if we want to take a moment while we arrange for that to come back together. We'll just wait to hear a word from our producer regarding that, or if we should push on. Okay, so it seems like we are having technical difficulties. Keon has just lost power. So we're just going to see if we can figure out what's going on there. We might cut very quickly to... Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. We are back. Everyone has power. Everyone is here. And that's all we can ask for on a day like today.
Hey.
Now, Keon did lose that last little bit of information, so we're just going to quickly run that back. I'm going to redo the description of the State Library so that all of our players know what's going on rather than just most of them. So the State Library is a large, grand building with sort of many floors of reading rooms, lots of interesting books of different types. Both of you would be pretty familiar with this structure, having been in plenty of time. For Franklin's sake, there's a lot of information in terms of engineering, science, all of that sort of stuff. Technical manuals are all done there, and you can get access to them for free as long as you can read them, basically. They don't do anything to do with education, but they are a great archive. And Jinx would know because they have a storage of banned books hidden in the basement. And Jinx loves to go in and find her way inside and read those books that she really should not be reading because they contain dangerous ideas and concepts that might warp the mind of a young woman such as you.
Heaven forbid.
But it means that both of you are pretty familiar with this space. You know that in winter it's warm, there's lots of comfortable chairs around. The librarians are usually fairly friendly as long as you go in dressed up, essentially. Like, if you look like you could be either the higher end of working class or the lower end of middle class, they tend to be very helpful and able to find things for you. If you look poor, they do kind of keep a closer eye on you because they want to make sure you're not stealing the books or doing anything mischievous here. Because class is a thing. But it does mean that both of you sort of know your way around this joint pretty damn well. Including things like if you guys decide while you're here you want to look anything up, you can also do that.
Oh, I think I was asking about like public records, if they had like building blueprints for things like, say, the bank or other important buildings.
Give me a hacker alertness.
All right. D8 and D10.
Trying to beat a 14.
9. I got exactly 14.
Nice. All right, so that actually means that we have tied, which means we have to reroll.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Well, that'll be a lot easier for you, trying to beat a 9.
It's a 6 and a 1. Oh, no.
And a 1! Love a 1, so you get a plot point, and I get a complication.
What did I do with my pen? There it is.
So I think that I'm going to add a new... Oh, actually, I'm going to make your tired complication worse. It's going to be a D6 of tired that could influence any of you at any time.
Sure, that will only end well for us. It'll be fine.
Right. So I just want to check. You got was it a 6 and a 1?
Yeah.
So you got a 7, which means you have lost the contest. You can either let it go or you can up the stakes.
I don't feel like the stakes need to be higher at the moment.
Okay.
Like there's still plenty I can do here without having those books.
Yeah. So you just things are just a little frustrating. You find that your eyes are swimming a little bit from not getting enough sleep last night. You were up until like 5 in the morning out at the Fight Club, and you just find your eyes will not focus on all the tiny little print details as you look through the section of the Dewey Decimal System organized library and go, which bit is architecture? I don't care, actually, it's fine, and just move on.
Okay. You said that the library is across the way from
The bank.
the bank?
Yes.
Okay. So Franklin is going to go grab, honestly, any book about like tinkering or anything. Find a window that faces the bank, sit down and kind of like fake that he's reading, but like really he's scoping out what the movements of the bank are looking like.
Okay. Do you want this to be elevated? Are you going upstairs to one of the like mezzanine floors, or are you
Yes, please.
ground level elevated? Okay.
Upstairs, please.
Jinx will follow too.
All right. So for this one, what sort of information are you looking for here? Because that will determine which crew role I ask for from you.
Right now, he's kind of getting a sense of like the guards that are out, like the guards that are outside, or like if like a money shipment comes through, you know, like with the Loomis trucks or anything like that.
Okay.
Is there something of a routine?
Okay. So you're just sort of looking for ambient information rather than I'm looking for an access route. I'm looking for like, is that?
Yeah,
sort of right?
no, he's not looking for an access route right now.
All right. Give me hacker alertness, please. But you are now going for the bank, which means I get to roll all of my security dice. And I'm also going to add the d6 that I just made from tired to this. Because it's hard to pay attention when you're very, very sleepy.
Evil GM thing.
Very, very evil. Okay.
Oh, this is not going to be easy for you. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, make your roll.
So can I use my observant and my security
Absolutely.
systems here?
Absolutely,
Okay.
I'll allow both.
Lovely. Okay.
Otherwise, I'll feel like I'm bullying you.
Okay. Maybe. Hold on. There's. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool. What does a 17 do?
Nothing.
Damn.
Sorry. The number we were looking for was 22.
Goodness.
So you observe this for a while, and you're sort of trying to get, like, what's the vibe? How often do things move? How often do these things happen? And first of all, you find you're in a nice warm chair next to the window. You're sort of near the fire, and you keep finding yourself just being like, my eyes are just, no, I'm awake. I'm paying attention. I'm okay. I'm good. I've got this. But it happens like fairly regularly, and you're not sure if you're like actually drifting off occasionally. Just keeping your like, and at this time exactly, like every 15 minutes, this thing happens, just isn't tracking for you because you can't keep the exact count of time. And the other thing is, you get the feeling that this place is specifically set up, and the security is specifically set up to not be particularly, like, visible and trackable. The security guards wear, like, helmets, so you can't really tell when they switch, because they have similar builds, similar size, like, they're specifically, they seem to be designed to be interchangeable. So you won't know if you're speaking to a different security guard unless you literally see them swap shifts, and you haven't seen that happen. The only piece of information I'll give you is at one point you see a carriage, like a handsome cab type carriage, pull up, and a man who is dressed as like a noble, so he's got a very sensible tweed 3-piece suit, short stovepipe hat, cane with a silver handle. He gets out of this carriage and heads into the bank, and he has to stop and present something that looks a bit like what we would think of as a passport to the guards before he's allowed in. Would be sort of the only information that you get.
Is he the only one that is showing that passport, or is everybody showing the passport just to enter?
You haven't seen anyone else enter.
Okay.
Remember, this is a very exclusive bank. This is for the rich and powerful.
Fair.
Not a lot of people going in and out.
I was just
Jinx.
hoping.
I know, but you didn't succeed, so...
It's okay.
Jinx, what are you looking for?
I would like to find the roof access. I'm assuming Jinx would probably know where that is. Like
Yeah,
the ladder
absolutely.
that goes up. To
Not
the...
even a roll. You know how to get up there.
Okay.
You also know that, like, the staff will duck out and smoke on the roof, so they put, like, a brick there so it won't close properly.
Perfect. So she wants to go up to the roof, and then a little bit of the, just kind of check in to see if there is a pattern or anything like that, kind of like Franklin was doing, but less focused on like getting it all down and more just looking at are there any blind spots?
Can I find a hole? Yeah.
Yeah, and would it be anywhere in the realm of possibility to like set up a tight wire, like a tight rope?
Yeah, give me a thief alertness.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull in tired again because I think it's sensible.
Yes.
Seems relevant.
Counterfeiting definitely wouldn't work, but trying to figure out how to rig a like a tightrope access, would that allow me to do MacGyvering?
Not at the moment because you're not trying to do the MacGyvering. You are just trying to find a space.
Okay. That is a 10.
10?
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to do it, I'm afraid. Now, I am going to say, although you don't find a point right now, you think that if you had the right time, like if you could figure out exactly when to put it up, you could probably organize something. And the reason I'm doing this is to put into place, if in the future you guys find yourselves on the roof of the bank, you can flash back and be like, I found a place where it would fit. I just needed the right time to do it. I definitely went and did that in between when we did the information gathering and when we did the heist. So
Okay.
you found a point where you're like, this is where I would put it, but you don't have the opportunity to set it up, if that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
It's not in a blind spot. You would need to like wait for there to be a guard blind spot. Or
Yeah.
something to happen to move the guards away, some kind of distraction. But you found a spot where you could get the rope from one side to the other.
Gotcha, I follow. And then when she's done with that, I think she's gonna want to find a chair and take a nap, so she's not. Oh, sorry. So she's not so tired.
All right, so heading back inside to the nice warm library,
Yeah.
curl up somewhere. Yeah, full
Act like
catch.
Frank-
Franklin
reading a
has
book.
fallen asleep in that couch.
Yeah.
And you head downstairs. And you
Why do
just
I
find
see
Franklin
Jinx
with
and
the book
Franklin just
in his
cuddled
lap,
up?
which is like,
Yeah.
It's a love seat, so there's an extra spot if you want to come in.
Just
Oh yeah, Jinx
cuddled
would
up.
absolutely do that.
you're just like,
I
wow,
wish-
Franklin is strangely warm. This is nice.
Yep.
Mhm.
I see,
Like,
envision
yay,
Jinx like a
friend
cat,
cuddle.
just like curled up. Like, this now belongs to me.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah, I will just lay that. You're probably going to need some kind of distraction to create that escape opportunity if it comes up.
Okay.
Just want you to have that in the back of your head. Meanwhile, Team Chaperone, let's head over to you guys. So you're headed off to go see your friend Myrtle. Is that correct?
Yes,
All right.
headed to the headwaters.
That's okay. So this is the first time we've been to the headwaters. The headwaters is light and day away from the poorer parts of town down near the base of the river. Up here, the water is clear. There is this constant like burbling brook sound in the background. The streets are clean. They're constantly being swept and kept to a good level of interest. There are big CO2 recyclers clearing the smog out of the air. So once you step out of the mid section of the city and into the headwaters, it's like stepping from congested, horrific, like highway type smoke diesel into like a park, like a national park, where the air is clear. You can hear birds chirping, like they're mechanical birds, you know that, but you can hear them. The roads are wide and well polished. All of the houses have enough space around them for like a small amount of, well, decorative courtyard really, because there aren't a lot of plants here. But every so often you will see the incredibly luxurious addition of a tree in the pavement. All of the trees are useful trees. They're things like fruit trees and trees that are particularly efficient at recycling air and that kind of a thing. Like, they are very carefully picked and very carefully looked after. And you, Alderose, would definitely know damaging a tree here is a death sentence. That's just, you get hanged for it. Straight out the gate. No one will disagree. They'll be like, that is the worst thing you could do here. Killing a poor person, whatever. You hurt that tree. Bad. But you're also fairly familiar with here. You've been here many times before. And that means that you know if you want to see your friend Myrtle, you've got to go around the back to the servants' entrance, of the house that she works at, which is a fairly nice sort of mid-range estate for a noble family. And you've timed this so you should be arriving just as she goes on her tea break.
Yeah. And we'll kind of warned everyone, stay as looks up at Dulo, stay as inconspicuous as you can, and don't fight the trees.
The trees here like to fight?
No, it's very important that you don't damage the trees.
Understood.
They're important for you.
For Josie, I don't think you've ever seen a place like this before. It's not how things are laid out or approached at all back where you're from.
Oh, absolutely not.
And just the lack of pollutants in the air is actually slightly irritating to your lungs. Could I get a vitality, please? Just the vitality on its own, and add the static 4 to it as you would when I ask for just one dice.
Sorry, you want me to add a D4 to it?
No, just 4.
Oh, just +4.
Just +4.
That's a 10.
It's a 10. Okay, so Josie begins to cough, but you manage to bring up a handkerchief in time to hide what comes up as you cough. But yeah, you will definitely see Josie appears to be struggling a little bit as you move into this theoretically much nicer area.
Yeah, Al will kind of slow and walk beside her. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not used to good air quality, I guess.
No. And there's like a pause, and then that very British, do you need some water?
Nah, I'm alright. Thank you, though.
It is a good thing I do not need to breathe.
Yes. Well, just cravat. Let's go quickly. We don't want to take too much of her tea break.
Oh. Is your neck okay? You keep adjusting your shirt.
Fine. And now Al is coughing slightly, and as the more he adjusts it, you can see there's a couple little bruises.
Do you need medical attention? I see bruising on the skin.
I'm fine. Thank you. I'm fine.
Al got plenty of attention. Don't worry about it.
Slight flush.
So
Duolo's just not picking up what you're putting down at all.
This poor robot. So headed round to the back entrance, you know how to let yourself in, and you will find in the back, sort of the washerwoman is putting up all of the laundry for the day, and you see Myrtle sort of seated off to the side with a large mug of tea, and a little plate with what you would know yesterday's baked goods that were for the family. They didn't get to them. Now they're for the servants.
Yeah, Al would definitely have tried to encourage the other two to wait out back, but
does that work?
I'm sure it doesn't.
No. I need to be with you just in case you need protection.
Fantastic.
I will not need protection, I think.
I do not know that.
I'm just nosy.
Amazing. So the three of you make your way into this sort of narrow city estate backyard.
Myrtle, and quiet knock, polite.
She will look up. So Myrtle is about the same age as you. Sort of darker blonde hair, dark brown eyes. The hair's pulled back into that very Gibson girl-ish sort of beard bun up on the top of the head, slightly looser around the front of the face. She's wearing a starched shirt front, apron, long skirt, sensible boots. Very lower class working for the upper class. This is her uniform sort of a look. But when she sees you, a smile that's perhaps slightly larger than would be like polite pops up, and she just sort of waves you over and very quickly pulls another mug from like behind the bench and pours a cup of tea from the pot and hands it over to you.
Thank you.
Oh, so good to see. And then sort of sees the other two and is like, again, my friend?
Apologies, they insisted on coming. These are acquaintances.
Right. Well, it's nice to meet
Josie's
you.
eyebrow tilts up.
Is there food? Just a question.
Yes, there is.
Duolo grabs a piece of food and smashes it into their face.
That is her lunch.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
I must.
It's fine. There's plenty. None of the children were interested in matrimonial slice, so you've got plenty if anyone likes coconut. And she sort of offers this dish around to the other two.
And Al does that, stand very straight and watching Josie out of the corner of an eye.
Since it would be rude, she'd accept a little bit, but she doesn't eat it.
Okay.
Al will take a mug and a cookie, and if there's a seat, we'll sit down next to her. If not, we'll kind of kneel.
Yeah, there's
so
sort of a
we can have
long
nice little
bench
chat.
that she's seated on one end.
I thank you. It's very kind of you. I wondered if you might be able to provide me with a bit of information.
I can definitely try. And then she sort of leans in and is like, what name should I be calling you in front of
Al.
these people?
Al.
Okay.
There.
Yeah, of course, Al. I can definitely, whatever I can do.
Are there any... We need to provide an address, and we don't want to put anyone in a bad state. Do you know of any estates that are recently vacated for sale or recently purchased?
Up here in the headwaters, or are you talking Midtown?
Headwaters.
Headwaters. All right, let me have a think. And she's going to roll.
Come on, Myrtle.
Okay, not too bad. Let's see how the universe rolls.
The universe has been rolling way too well recently.
I wanna
Universe
give
does not roll as well as Myrtle today.
gonna say I want to give the
It's
universe
Myrtle.
disadvantage.
I would like
so
to fight
Myrtle
the
sort of
universe, please.
taps one finger against her mouth for a moment, and then she says, the Peckenhams have just left. So their estate on... And she sort of frowns for a moment. It would be... Where are they again? Their house on Ross Lane would have just emptied about 2 weeks ago. As far as I know, the new owner's some big shot from Paradox coming down. So he's organized for the whole thing to be, renovated and made nice for him and his family before he heads down here. So no one's staying there. People know it's being bought, but they don't know who by. They just know it's some foreigner. Is that what you're looking for?
That is absolutely perfect. You are a gift, as always.
Flatterer. Well, you can make it up to me. I actually need someone for... And she outlined... Apparently there's some, dinner dance thing that's happening in 2 weeks where she needs someone to go with her, or she can't go on her own because she's a young unmarried woman, but she really wants to go. So she's like, you can take me, and then no one will have any questions about whether it's appropriate or not, and I will get to go have dinner at this place I want to go to, and etc. Yeah.
There's a long pause as Al is trying to do the math of... and he will lean in and very much drop their voice. I may not be in the city too much longer, but I can find you someone who would be an appropriate escort.
Oh. Well, you wouldn't be leaving for bad reasons, right? You're going because you want to?
Yes.
Okay.
A fresh start. Without.
Right.
You will be one of the only people here I miss.
She definitely looks troubled and then nods and leans in and sort of bumps her shoulder against yours. And says, well, as long as it's not because you're being chased out of the city by a mob with torches, I won't be too upset. Just try and send me a postcard when you get wherever you're going, okay?
If you get something from a name you don't know, you'll know who it is.
Usually I do assume that, yeah. But yeah, if you can find someone who can take me, I would appreciate that.
I would never leave you wanting. Thank you.
And good luck with all of this. And this and she leans back in and she's like, this foreign lady that you're traveling with, who appears to be quite modern, and sort of taps her neck where your cravat is slipped. I know you wear makeup, so I have to assume that's on purpose.
All the deception is gone because she knows him way too well. Yeah, there's for a reason.
Right. Okay. Well, just don't let yourself get caught up by some... And she gives Josie a look that I think everyone here will read as, you are clearly trouble. Like,
go on.
Remember this sort of society at this era is just sort of like, I hope you don't get too caught up in interesting new things and forget to look after yourself.
I've avoided the pitchforks and torches thus far.
Right.
Thank you.
And she just leans over and sort of squeezes your hand, and you're sort of reminded she's got these like very bony, like hard-working hands that are always cold and like a little bit rough because she's constantly like washing up, doing the polishing, doing this, doing the other. As opposed to your hands that only have the smallest amount of callus from working with like sewing needles and such. And just sort of where your two lives have diverged so incredibly far from where you started as these two little girls in the same place at the same time who grew in these two very different ways but still stayed very close. And you can see she like cares for you but maybe doesn't understand how you've lived your life. And she doesn't judge you for it, but she's worried on your behalf. Says, well, as always, anything I can do, just let me know. And as long as them upstairs aren't, not willing to let me go, I'll be there.
If you ever want a change of scenery, there might be an easier position in Paradox soon.
Oh, the food there's meant to be completely difficult. They don't have eels. They don't eat eels up there. What do you eat?
I don't know. I'll have to research that. That's going to be important for me to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll think about it. Well, it was lovely to meet you, both of you. Take, and she'll like bundle another couple of pieces of that slice up in a napkin and sort of press it on Al and not let him say no before you're allowed to leave.
Thank you. I'll make sure you have a chaperone to that event.
Much appreciated.
And then
perhaps Uncle Arthur would like to be your chaperone.
maybe. we shouldn't take up any more of her time. She's on break and is like herding everyone out as quickly and politely as they can.
Sort of as you're just leaving, you hear from inside the house this like very high-pitched upper class of sort of, Nanny, where are you? And you just see her like, and stand up from the bench.
I'm on my break. I mean, I guess my break's over. Okay.
Yeah, steps out, sheepish glance toward Josie, just starts walking, just eyes deliberately forward.
Josie, I feel that she was jealous of your private conversations with Al.
I don't know if it was jealousy, but I'm pretty sure she was about to call me a whore. Then she's gonna start walking.
That word does not compute. And I'll
Good,
follow.
that's good.
A loose woman.
A floozy, if you will.
A floozy.
A hussy.
Your head has been
A
turned
lady
by
of
this
the
woman.
night.
All right, so I'm gonna have you guys recombine. In that you guys end up having to go find the library team because they are knocked out.
Asleep.
Yeah, you get there to this tableau of Franklin, like, head back, book open in his lap, like fully unconscious, and Jinx curled up next to him, sort of like half under his coat, like tucked in, with a book tinted over her face to block out the reading lamps.
I will reach out and try to, as I will gently, Dulos gently shake Franklin, which is like a really rough shaking because I don't understand gentle.
Like, as you're trying to do that, like, Al is like, like the very proper gentle throat clear, and then
So
Franklin,
Promise, I was only closing my eyes for a second. Low.
You fell asleep. You were in deep circadian rhythms, so you were asleep for a while.
Some of us need that. Some, not all, but
You also might want to check out your septum. You might have a slight deviation.
why are you so tired? Didn't you go home after?
So I was looking at. He immediately derails.
Conversation,
I would say-
conversation
Franklin-
deviation.
Franklin did this morning hand over these incredibly complex like transmission devices to let you all stay in contact over a distance. It would be reasonable for Al to be like, oh, he was up all night like calibrating these things.
That's right.
Now, if they do ask it, I'm still going to act like I did not go to my ex's house.
I think when that conversation is happening is when Jinx finally wakes up and she's just like, is it Christmas? What's happening?
It is
Oh,
not
hi.
Christmas.
But
You- We're sleeping.
Yeah. I was tired.
oh, did you guys get any information while you were out?
I have an address. We just need to go and start the operation.
And apparently, Al's friend was jealous of Josie.
Oh?
No,
And why would that be?
not we were children together, and she doesn't understand my life.
And Josie does?
We are in the same line of work.
Hmm.
And Myrtle means well, but if you're around the upper class too long, you start absorbing their views of the world.
Woman almost called me a whore.
What?
Again, word does not compute.
She's just protective of me.
Fair.
Ah, so like me
Didn't say
with
I was
Franklin.
pissed.
Do you need me to break into her house and swap her sugar and salt?
No, Myrtle is a delight. Here, have cookies.
I grab a cookie. I grab a cookie and smash it into my face.
Hey,
Sorry,
She's
immediately
completely
there is
distracted by the cookies now.
I have to
we
follow my
should
rules.
leave the library if we're going to eat. Let's.
yeah, immediately there is a polite throat clearing.
No.
Like as soon as you're like, here, have cookies. There's like a MM.
Yeah, sorry. I meant for later. Come.
I will pick up the two tired people and carry them.
Dulo, I can walk.
No, you are tired. You must rest.
I'm so tired. And she's just like laying it on thick. She's like, I get to be carried. I don't have to walk. This is great.
Right, back outside. It started raining.
Oh my.
Which in this world means a thin mist of black oil is pelting from the sky.
Ooh.
Freezing cold.
Ew.
Yeah. Let's hurry and get somewhere we can talk.
Please.
Also, Ran,
Yes.
going back to more pollution, do my lungs feel better or worse?
You thought they would feel better, but they somehow feel worse.
Great.
Because like before it was like it's an upset because it's different, and now your lungs like, no, we had 20 minutes.
No, wait, please.
We had 20 minutes where we could fully inflate.
Wait, this felt good after a little bit. Now it's bad.
Now it's worse. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, back to Franklin's place.
It's fine. Dulo, I would really like to walk. He's kind of like kicking his feet a little bit.
It is faster if I carry you.
One over each shoulder.
I love that. Jinx is just like eating cookies along the way.
Yeah, they're nice. They're like, you know, like a crumbly pastry, and then like with oats in it, and then like a raspberry jam, and then like coconut crumble on top.
Yeah, that moment of panic if you don't have a
Amazing.
coconut allergy, do you?
Well, we're gonna find out.
Oh, no.
What's coconut? Jinx says.
Yep.
What's an allergy?
Josie's also going to hand over her cookie over to Jinx as well.
Another eyebrow, no comment.
Do you not? Do you not
Jinx
want
just
to?
squeals with delight.
Nope.
Franklin asks.
No, I'm good.
All right, back to the sticky gears.
Noted.
Get inside. Get into a private room. You know.
Yeah.
Try and get some of the oil off.
Josie just massages it into the back of her prosthetic. Just her little
Yeah.
enhancement on the back of her neck.
Dulo's just sitting there covered in oil.
Because I've never felt so limber.
No rusting, no just squeak.
Like full restart, covered in oil.
Okay.
I mean,
They're
Jula
having
would
a
know
great
the weather is designed to keep the artifact going.
Mhm.
Like that's why oil rains from the sky.
Yep.
To lubricate all of the cogs and joints and make sure everything keeps going.
All right. We have to get into costume. You all have to get into a place to observe. Are you going to be awake to observe? Like, it's not said with shade, it's said with genuine concern.
I feel great now that I got a nap.
I too feel a lot better.
All right.
I too also wonder why you are so tired, Franklin. It is not like
Ran, quick question. What is the range that I have on these communication devices?
Let's go. Oh god, I have to translate this into American.
I know my kilometers.
I was gonna say about 800 meters.
Okay.
Okay, that's
pretty good.
okay. I can work with that.
Oh, about the size of a block, like about a city block.
Got it.
I would also say
so I
from
can
your
happily
apartment-
be. Mhm.
Yeah. From your apartment, you could definitely rig up something to magnify it so you could get it from your place. But you wouldn't be able to just be like anywhere in the poor part of town. You either need to be like
Right.
within a block or at that location specifically.
Right. Okay. So after Dulo asks that, I kind of whisper into the device. It's like he's like very, very calm. Like, I became the voice in your head. That's why I'm so tired.
Julo, you will suddenly become aware of an aftermarket modification that has been added.
That is new. I do not remember that update.
So, I took some liberties while you were rebooting.
Can you imagine the body horror of that? You just wake up and your friend's like, "I did surgery on you while you were asleep."
I think there's like
arms now.
actual sparks behind the obsidian lenses of like that's how Duolo shows surprise. Like there's like electrostatic sparks behind the eye lenses.
Hey buddy, while you were unconscious, I grafted another arm onto your body. Hope that's cool.
We talked about this before. You said that you would like to have a communication device that went a little bit farther, so somebody was always there with you. So it just seemed like the perfect time.
So I do not have to be alone anymore.
Yes. I will always be with you.
Unless we get more than 800 meters away from each other.
You don't need to know that. I'll fix something.
Find it out.
I'll make it better.
Also, Franklin,
yes?
What was that address you had earlier?
Oh, last night while you were rebooting, I ran into an old friend.
An old friend?
Yes, Kelly was working at the ring.
I think there's no way to hide this. I'm so big. I think like my back kind of straightens and my fist clenches hard to where you hear the metal.
It's okay. It's fine. We're fine. You don't. It's okay.
Are you sure?
Yes.
They are the reason you are in the situation you are in now.
I know. If you
just one good punch and they could be finished.
And he is like audibly like thinking it through, like, fair. This could be bad, but no. We're gonna be getting out city soon. Don't worry about it.
Just a very sly smirk crawls across Al's face. So you're looking to set him up.
Yes.
That gasp actually comes out of Duolo's mouth.
Possibly. Somebody is going to have to take the fall for this, and he already has a pretty bad rep.
We just smash cut to Kelly dropping a donation off into for the Widows and Orphans charity box. Just being like, I'm gonna make things right. I know I fucked up before, but I'm turning my life around. And then we smash cut back to you guys.
Yes, so I am actively planning on ruining his life the same way he ruined mine.
It's good to see that you can protect yourself, Franklin. I think that's how the voice comes out. It's not the robotic voice that usually comes out.
Have I ever heard a more human voice come out of you?
Nope. The one time when Dulo said friend to Cece was the first time that it had ever come out in front of people.
I'm not gonna say anything about that because we'll talk about it later. But yeah,
All right, so who's going to the bank?
All of us, I guess. Well, at some point.
Excuse me.
Sooner or later.
I think Jinx is going to want to go in there to get the layout and kind of figure out where she can sneak into places, things that she could unlock, or even potentially pickpocket some keys or something like that if the opportunity arises.
How easy would it be to get a third person in? Like, if
You
we're
need
doing...
a good reason. Like, you'll need cover for her.
Mm-hmm.
Above board. How tall is Jinx again?
She's pretty short.
I think we're having the same thought.
Yeah, she's not very tall. Why? I don't think I'm having the same thought.
Leans, like, Al kind of steeples fingers and leans forward. Like, in that very, like, Jinx, I need you to focus.
Okay. Jinx is, like, laser focused on Al right now.
Can you do this accent?
Can I do this accent?
Or can you just not speak? I feel like the
No.
accent's the better, yeah.
Let me try.
Jinx, give me a
I'm-
grifter alert
Okay.
roll.
I'm laughing because that is my childhood accent. I grew up in the South. So it was Grifter, and what was the
Alertness. Let's see how
Alertness.
much attention you've been paying to Josie's voice. Trying to beat a 13.
Can I argue that counterfeiting would work with this?
How?
I am having to copy an accent to
Raven.
basic.
Raven.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I have to ask.
Hmm. No.
Okay, cool. That's a 10.
So, you know, it's a struggle. You can't do the accent properly. I'm sorry, Raven. I know that you could, but
Yeah.
Jinx can't.
Actually, hold on. I have a plot point.
Yeah.
Could I say? Could we have a flashback to Jinx finding Josie very attractive and interesting, and so she just like spends some time trying to mimic that accent, just on her own while she's doing other things.
Yeah, go ahead. Give yourself a reroll.
All right. So it was alertness and grifter, yeah.
I think actually when we first met Josie, both Al and Jinx were trying to copy the accent canonically in our story.
You're right. We were. All right, reroll. Number to beat is a 13, yeah.
And I don't.
Well,
take
I
notes,
also
just
rerolled.
remember.
So.
Oh.
Oh, this will be easier for you.
Ooh, that's a 15.
Yeah, beats 12.
Sweet.
So Jinx can do the accent just as good as Raven can do the accent.
Hell yeah.
All right. I might have to work on some complexion. You're gonna have to be our child.
Yep.
That is a full-grown human woman.
She's short,
I'm a
And she's
master of disguise,
small.
and she's short.
Oh,
but I don't. Yeah.
I love Rand just disappearing into the distant background.
I mean,
Okay.
she is.
this is not
short
going to
and
be
small,
an
but
easy.
Okay,
This is
are
not
there,
going to be an easy check.
No.
could we do a ward? Would a ward be easier, right?
Could
She's,
also-
she's a young, unmarried woman.
I would.
That could work.
That's more likely than being like, I swear that this full-grown human woman is a 12-year-old.
Please let her eat on the child menu.
Hey, people try it.
16
Okay, I'm glad we had the
is a
same
ward.
thought.
Like that's a young unmarried woman, not a child in this society.
That's fair.
God.
Okay,
I
I'll let
think
you make
Jinx
a
could-
disguise check to try and make Jinx look like Josie, or like you, depending on who you're going to have her as related to. But yeah, I'm not. If you try to roll for child, I'm going to roll this difficulty with like 3d12s, because
That's not fair.
No.
I don't think she could pass as a child, but you could probably make her look 16.
All right.
All right.
You're going to
Would
be
you
our
like to give me
ward.
your disguise?
Do I get to roll that?
Yes, you get to roll that. You're the one
Okay.
disguising her, so give me
Brilliant.
grifter intelligence.
Okay.
The
D10.
shenanigans are
D10.
shenanigans.
I am adding. Do I get to use my fashionable?
I don't think so. I don't think
Alright.
fashion will help here.
Do I get to use?
specifically.
But I get to use my clothes stash.
Yes, you do.
D6. Do I get to use deception?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay.
DC is not too high considering how many dice you're rolling. It's only a 14.
Okay. And I assume you didn't roll any ones.
I did not.
Okay. 17 plus 6 plus 1, so yeah.
Oh, you got a 1?
I did get a 1.
Nice.
Plot
Cool.
point.
Well,
Yep, you get a plot point.
I get a plot
and
point,
I get...
a complication.
I'm going to write down, she looks familiar.
Great.
Ran
I just
really
have
said,
one of
I'm
those
not playing
faces."
around with y'all.
I get that a lot.
This is not a horror game. Remember that.
It's not a horror game. The consequence of your own actions is not horror.
Yes, it is. In my fantasy world, yes, it is.
Guys, don't push Rand. Don't do
Can I
it.
make this 20
Don't do it or you'll lose an eye.
Can I make this 20-something-year-old look like a child? What do you think this is, the CW? God. All right.
Yeah, that's a high schooler.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
All right. Josie, what's the I don't know if anyone here will have met, will have been better traveled, or what's the, should I mimic your personality? More boisterous, more outgoing, more reserved? What? How do men of your society behave?
I'll be entirely honest with you. I'm not really all too keen on exactly how the upper class acts. It's not how I was raised. From what I understand, they're all kind of just stuffy assholes. I'll
Right.
also be honest, the upper class doesn't really talk like this. So we're gonna have to hope that they don't know better.
Right.
Al, give me a hacker intelligence check.
Not rolling that one because it did the 1.
That's fair.
It's only a 7.
Okay. With a 7. Look, you think it's highly unlikely that anyone here would know anything about the people from that culture. So
All right.
you think you'll just be able to play it with like confidence should get you through this. If not, you'll just need to sort of pass it over to Josie and be like, Josie, I need you to make this make sense.
All right. Do I get, and I don't know, tell me if I didn't roll high enough, but like, do I get the impression that confident, foreign, and like boisterous will like throw them off enough to maybe give us an advantage, or is that going to make them more like, ugh?
I think that's so variant on which
Okay.
person you're talking to.
Cool,
that
cool.
You'll have a better chance if you try and get a personal read of whoever it is you're talking to at the
Perfect.
time.
Is he gay or European?
So many shades of gray.
Is he rude or just American?
All right. So, Jinx, you have to stay close, be observant, don't go wandering. Proper young ladies don't go wandering.
Okay. Don't wander. Don't wander. Yep, got it.
All
Looks
right,
at the
so
other
my-
two.
Lean over to Al. You know she's going to Wanda, right?
I'm trying with one of my older friends. I'm trying.
Okay.
I have faith that if she knows it's important to me, Faye will remember it more often than not. I have faith.
Okay.
Now,
I do too.
I will say, we've got the three of you heading to the bank, and then Julo and Franklin outside. If you guys stay in the apartment, you can stay in contact with them while you do, like, other prep stuff. And you don't even have to nominate what that is at the moment. You can just, what I'll have is for every, like, scene that they have somewhere else, you can make a mark down, and then at some point later, you can be like, during that downtime, I made this item when it becomes relevant. Does that make sense?
Beautiful.
Okay. Okay, with that said, shall our lovely little American family, or not American, make their way to the Grand Labyrinth Bank?
Indeed.
I assume you call a cab.
I think we call a very particular cab.
Okay. So everyone is in their disguises, and are you at? So you'll be going from Al's place because you had to go to his to get the disguises all set up. And a handsome cab pulls up with a metallic robotic horse whirring away in front, and a young man, quite handsome, not nearly as nervous as the last time we saw him, hops down and cheerfully says, "Yeah, all right. Where can I take you today? Oh, you've got from. Hello. Good morning. Where can I take you to today?"
We're headed to the Grand Labyrinth Bank.
Fantastic. And he will hold the door open and very properly extend a hand out to both Josie and Jinx, who would struggle in the long dresses to make the proper step up. Let's get some fit descriptions, considering we've got a fashionista here who's dressed you all up. Let's get the fits. Let's get the looks.
I do think Al would, to a certain extent, have been like, Josie, I don't know anyone who dresses like you. What have I got? Huge wardrobe. How can I make this look more like what you would wear?
What she would probably have recommended is doing kind of a blend of things that you would normally see on some of the upper class here, as well as darker colors, something more stoic rather than flashy. Since a lot of it was blacks, grays, browns, etc. And kind of focusing on those tones. Anything with leather, considering what she's just covered in all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Al is going to very specifically give Jinx a fan to both fan herself and hide her face.
Perfect.
Yeah, Al is probably in a suit that has kind of a duster feel to the coat. It's longer, it's not tailed, but it's got the longer thing. We'll have found some shoes that vaguely resemble cowboy boots. They're definitely not, but they're close enough that if you don't know, you'd probably be like, okay, yeah.
Sure.
Has found some kind of embroidered something like on for a collar that kind of matches the embroidery that he saw on Josie when she first rolled up. And we'll also have 3 mourning bands. Not put them on people, but have them. So when we get a feel of like, do we think we are proper enough to be mourning, or are we complete tourists? In which case, we would not have the mourning bands.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So you're sort of trying to split the difference between what's acceptable in this place and what looks foreign and strange. But,
Yeah.
like, fancy foreign, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're going like, even though it kills me, I'm going to wear this suit rather than the proper afternoon suit It's fine.
Like kind of that thing where it does match enough to where if we decide we're going prim and proper, whereas if we get the vibe and people are looking at us really funny, it's like, no, we need to turn up the we're foreign and we need to be loud and boisterous, like, so we can kind of flip between depending on how people are reacting.
Makes sense. Josie, the look, the fit.
So it's probably pretty similar to what she started with, in terms of like the collared shirt, but she probably has a string of pearls or something along with it. A tighter fitting jacket, but then the black dressy bustled kind of skirt that would be usual in this time period. She's probably got longer sleeves to hide all of the scarring, and plenty of makeup to make sure that her face looks a lot more presentable, like that of a lady. And she is absolutely wearing gloves to hide the calluses on her hands.
She got a fun hat.
She's probably wearing her hat. That's the one thing that she refuses to take off.
Fair enough. And Jinx.
So would Al put Jinx in like a big floofy dress?
Oh yeah. Like,
excellent.
Al would do like something that matches Josie, but also like very, very modest, because you're a ward, so you've got to be a respectable young fae.
Perfect. And that's actually that means there's probably plenty of layers where she could hide a thievery kit.
Absolutely, you can fit pretty much anything in a bustle. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Jinx is taking advantage of that. And I want to say like very spring kind of colors is probably what she would point out to Al and be like, "Ooh, can I have it in that color?"
Is that proper for a young ward, or do I have to be the mean daddy?
I think you would know sort of younger ladies are expected to have like a slightly more interesting color palette. So it would be out of the question. It would just very much be seen as you guys should be dressed sober and sensibly in black or gray or brown. And then your ward might be allowed to wear like a lighter gray, a pale blue, a green, like something like that. Like not super in your face.
Something fun.
But something fun because she's young, you know?
Right. I feel like Al does make her tone it down a little bit from what Jinx would want to do. Yeah. I think also, like, Jinx would know all of Al's coats like have pockets and stuff, so they could also stash some tools or something in Al's pockets to be able to like very quickly sleight of hand that should they be needed.
Okay.
I'm just going to say, you are currently planning on just doing a scouting mission. Are you planning on taking thieves' tools in before you know what the level of security they have there is? Because you don't know if you'll be searched. You don't know what the procedure is.
I
just want to double check beforehand, because you guys are professionals.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing you would think about.
Yeah. That's a good point. She probably wouldn't take the whole kit, but she might take the like Victorian Swiss Army knife thing that she's built with like, they are tools for getting into locks, but it would look like something that you could also use to like, you know, cut fabric or things like that.
Okay.
It doesn't scream thieves tool.
Okay. And you keeping that on you, or are you giving that to Al?
I think she'll put that like in a place that is unlikely for a young ward to be searched.
Yes.
Okay.
In the titty.
Yep, exactly.
Fair enough.
Okay. Pocket.
So with that said, shall we bank?
Yes.
All right. So headed to the bank, approaching it. It's a very typical sort of fine building, built to look like it came out of ancient Greece. It has the pointed roof, the graceful columns, and it sits atop a short dais of stairs. With a space for sort of handsome cabs to pull up and drop people off. One of those like fancy circular drives kind of a thing. Climbing the stairs, you're greeted by a pair of stern guards wearing fine uniforms with breastplates, sabers, and stun prods hanging from their belts, as well as a pistol on each hip. At that point, you are stopped. Please state your business.
Howdy there. We're looking to set up an account here. We're new in town, and need to establish ourselves.
All right. Give me a grifter willpower, please.
Grifter. Willpower. And then I do have a d6 with my accent.
Yes, you do.
As I am using a disguise, can I
Yeah.
use my talents, Master of Disguise?
Yes, you can.
Actually, do
What
I
does
get
that do?
before I decide that? Because
Yeah.
that is a talent which I have to use a plot point for, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Can I know what you rolled before I decide if I want to use that or no?
Absolutely. So I will be rolling 2d10 and a d6.
Yeah, I'm going to use a plot point and use that. So Master of Disguise, when you use a disguise, add a d6 to your roll. If you successfully fool someone, the fixer can't use complications on future rolls to have that character see through your disguise.
Okay. All right, so you're going to be rolling against an 18.
Okay. 8. That's 10. 18 plus 4 is 22.
Nicely done. So he looks you up and down and he says, "Ah, you're new to the city, I see. Well, if you'd like to step inside, I'm sure that one of the tellers can speak to you and your wife and ward. If they would prefer, may head to the ladies' room, or if they are associated with your business, they are, of course, willing and able to escort you."
We'll look to Josie. Well, what do
Well,
you prefer?
darling, I know that you're pretty, but you know how I handle things.
She's right.
And you will hear a little snort from the other guard on the other side of this doorway.
And just like a shrug. Like, yeah, well, she always did know her way around. Come on, ladies. And we'll step out and hold out a hand.
Very good, sir. Have a good day. And welcome to the Grand Labyrinth.
Thank you kindly.
So stepping inside, first of all, it opens into this massive square room. Again, surrounded by these colonnades of columns with the little fine Grecian archways. You can see there is this marble flooring with a massive emblem set into it, which is the emblem of the House of Weis, which is the royal family here, which is a dragon eating its own tail. Up above, you can see these are sort of mezzanine floors that surround it, going up 3 or 4 stories. And then there is a massive skylight over the top that lights the whole place. There are 5 tellers, but most of this space seems to be taken up by individual officers with individual bankers who come out, go to specific people and take them into individual rooms. So it seems like everyone here has a specific banker. The banker speaks to specifically them, and they do that all in private. They don't have to speak to tellers unless they're just here to get some cash, basically, or they don't know who to speak to.
We'll look to Jinx, and we're going to be talking a lot of shop. Do you want to go enjoy the ladies area, or would you like to accompany us and get a feel for the business?
Well, y'all always have been encouraging me to get more involved in commerce, so I suppose I should probably go with you.
All right, then. And we'll kind of just step in and do that, kind of chest out, looking around expectantly,
I've been here for about 30 seconds and no one has taken me to do my business.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the prideful look on Josie's face when she looks at Jinx is not faked.
I was gonna mention too, you can notice that Jinx is very focused and her eyes are very sharp and looking at specific things as she moves around.
Would you like to give me a thief alertness then, to see what you can pick up in terms of the security in this area? Now, I'm just going to let you know, this is a very secure area. This is probably going to be, other than if you're like, in the vault, what are the weaknesses? I'm going to have a hell of a lot of dice stacked together for all of the stuff within this bag. I'm very happy to talk it through, though, in terms of what you're dealing with. So we've got 1d10 for the bank, 1d10 for the armed security guards, 1d12 for the Clockmen security. And then I'm adding a d4 for she looks familiar.
Okay. I got an 18.
And d6 for you're tired.
I took a nap.
You think that cancels a complication? Okay.
We tried.
Yep.
All right. Well, the good news is I rolled a 1 on one of these dice, so you're going to get an opportunity.
Awesome.
Which I'm going to make. I think it is that you look innocent in your disguise, so nobody is going to suspect you. So I'm adding a d4 of innocent looking to your list of advantages.
Also, since I'm here, could I do that very standard mom thing of just kind of licking the finger and kind of brushing over Jinx's face a little bit? And I'd like to use my stay on target as I kind of lean in and just wake up. Which is when the fixer rolls a complication die against any crew member you're in contact with, you can spend a plot point to permanently remove that complication from play.
Yes! Oh, that is nice. Well done. All right, that gets rid of she looks familiar. That's one complication gone.
Just Josie being the hot mom of our group.
Uh-huh. I was like, I'm playing a MILF and you cannot stop me.
None of us would ever.
Why would I stop you?
Didn't just like.
Your DC to beat is a 24.
Yeah, I got an 18.
Okay.
I
Would you
literally
like to raise
cannot
the
beat a
stakes?
24. No, because the highest I can possibly get is a 20.
Yeah, you just looking around, you're like, holy shit, these people. No wonder no one has been able to rob this bank successfully. But I will give you a little bit of information nonetheless. First of all, there's about a dozen guards just crisscrossing the floor, like the general floor down here. As I said, they're all built the same. They're all wearing full face helmets, so you cannot tell when, like, which guard is which. And the way that they patrol seems almost choreographed to help confuse that. So you think, sorry, excuse me. You think there's about a dozen, but you can't be entirely certain. It might be more, it might be less.
Okay.
But I'm afraid with a failure, that is all the information you're going to get from them.
That's fine.
So as you look around Aldero's, trying to sort of just vibe your way into being seen, you can see there is a small line heading up to the teller windows, if you would like to head that way. Otherwise, there is seating, like velvet chairs, very fancy, like tufted sofas, sort of a thing.
The people standing in the teller line, do they look like the same level of money that we are trying to portray ourselves as? Or do they look below?
You think that just getting into this bank requires a certain level of money.
Yeah.
And even their teller line, like, there are 4 teller windows, all of them are staffed. The line moves so quickly, people are only waiting for about a minute at most. And even while they're waiting, it's like, while you wait, would you like a cup of tea? If you prefer, you can sit down and the teller will call you. Like, it's still that, like, very luxury feeling.
Yeah, I think we'll kind of look to Josie, be like, line, or do we just sit and wait and demand they come to us?
I haven't waited in the last 20 years.
All right, then. And we'll make a big show of stepping to some velvet seats, doing the man spread.
Men.
All right. I would like a grifter willpower, please.
Happy to. Do I get
to essentially, you are walking into a place and being like, you were going to psychically know that someone is meant to see me without talking to anybody or saying anything. I'm just going to sit down and wait for you busy people to notice me, which is a lot. Even if they weren't already like doing other things.
Yes. Does my deception help at all here?
I don't think so. This is more of a just like,
cool.
My force of personality makes you notice me. I will say I rolled exceedingly high.
Yeah, that's only an 8.
That's not gonna.
No ones, but only an 8.
That's not gonna do it. I rolled a 22 because I rolled a 10 and a 12. Yay, max dice. So you take a seat, you make this big show of like, oh, I'm making a fuss, oh, I'm right here, somebody noticed me, and you just unfortunately run into that very British problem where everybody else goes, well, I know what I'm doing, so he must be somebody else's problem. And nobody pays any attention to you.
I think Josie, after a minute, would just kind of like hold up a hand and just, excuse me, darling. Is there anyone that could help us out? Please.
Who are you speaking to?
Just anyone that seems to be passing by.
Okay. I'm gonna get you to roll a vitality mastermind to see if you can sort of pick who would be the most useful in this moment.
Could I potentially argue intelligence mastermind, considering I've done this before? And include my espionage?
Rather than intelligence, I'll give you alertness.
That's good for me too.
All right. And yes, you can include your espionage. You're trying to pick the right target here. That makes sense to me. Jesus. All right. Well, they didn't roll well, so you're probably going to succeed.
Could I also include either my Southern Charm or Smooth Talker?
Southern Charm makes sense here. And you're going to pick up an opportunity as well. What would be a useful opportunity here, do we think, guys?
That is a 19 for Josie.
19, easily done. So I think the person you've picked up is going to just be, I'm going to give them a, like, charmed by, like, they think that it's so cool that you are a foreigner, essentially. So I'm going to give them a...
So they're neurodivergent.
I was gonna say like, wow, you're beautiful type deal, like a distraction, like, oh wow, a pretty person walked up to me. Again, they're neurodivergent.
So I think you catch a young lady who's clearly like a clerk. She's carrying like a large stack of contracts. As you sort of lean over, like, hi, can I get some help? She will turn to you. Oh my, yes, certainly. Are you waiting for your banker?
We're currently trying to open up an account.
Open an account. Right, I see. Well, if you'll hold for just one moment, I can get you set up with a teller to begin taking those details. Would that be all right, Miss?
We won't have to wait too long, will we?
No, certainly not. As soon as they're done with Mrs. Pendergast, I'll have them right over to you. And I believe she's only withdrawing some cash, so shan't be long at all. If you do need anything, though, please feel free to ask me. My name is Millie, and she'll point to a little name badge.
Thank you, Millie. Could we get a round of tea?
Absolutely, absolutely. And she'll sort of look over to someone in, like, another room and gesture very faintly, like, in that very, like, you know what this means, but it won't be, like, obvious to the people around you kind of a way. Yes, absolutely. I do have to run these contracts over, but I will be right back with you.
Oh, please, don't let me keep you.
Certainly. And she gives, like, a little, like, bobbed curtsy and hurries off to one of these individual offices. As she does, though, you see her lean over to, not a guard, but another one of these, like, young women in essentially, like, a walking suit, and gesture back to you guys. Again, very subtly, you're only picking it up because all of you are on high alert. And that other woman makes her way over to one of the teller's windows and leans over and whispers something in one of their ears, etc. It's very segmented and subtle. but very shortly after, you are first of all presented with tea in sort of cups that you don't normally see, like fine bone china, etc., etc. Incredibly fine tea. Everything is lovely. Like, just looking at this, Jinx, you're like, oh, I could sell this cup and pay my rent from.
Yeah. I think Jinx wants to kind of play up things for us as a group of being like, we belong here. So I think like as the lady is leaving, she'll whisper loud enough, like in that way that, you know, younger people might do, or they'll say something that perhaps older adults would be like, oh, we don't say that, loud enough for other people to hear. But she might be like, well, this is so much slower than our old bank.
I know, darling, but we gotta get used to these things.
I suppose so. These cups look like what we have back home, though.
Mm-hmm.
And very shortly after that, a young woman, sort of short black hair cut into almost like a page boy type bob, Asian descent, dressed again very properly in like the bank's uniform, which appears to be sort of dark green and red in color, comes over and she says, good morning, my name is Charlene. I will be your banker for today. If you'd like to come with me, I've heard you're interested in opening an account. Is that correct?
That is. Thank you kindly. And we'll stand and offer hands to the ladies.
Fantastic. Well, if you'll just come with me to my office, I'll be stepping away from the teller window while we handle your private business. And you see that a little, like, sign has gone up in the teller's window she was behind before, being like, away on business. And you see someone else is clearly being like, getting ready to step in and cover for her as she guides you into one of these private little offices off to the side. Sits behind a desk and says, well, I hear that you are new in town, is that correct? I do apologize. I introduced myself, but I think I missed your name.
Oh, yeah. We forget we're used to being known. My name is Charles. You can call me Chuck. We're all friends here, right? These are my lovely wife and our ward. And is going to look at Josie like, do you want to give a name or should I?
Josephine Miller. Pleasure to meet you.
Very much a pleasure.
Looks to Jinx.
I think Jinx isn't really used to this stuff, so she's waiting for the person to like speak to her directly before she speaks.
She's just looking at you expectantly.
Yeah, do I talk here?
Susie here is a little shy.
I see. So it would be the Millers, Charles, Josephine, and is that Suzanne or Susan?
Susie's just fine, thank you.
For legal purposes, darling, her name's Suzette.
Susan. Oh. I see.
2 T's, no E.
I see. Oh. And may I ask where you originate from?
Let me check my notes, please, because I forgot.
Kentucky. No. Wait.
As I'm sure you could tell, we're not exactly from around here.
I did detect the faintest hint of an accent, but we do actually bank internationally, so that shan't be an issue.
Initially, we just came here from Pinion.
Pinion? I wasn't aware of a Miller family from Pinion. And you see her taking notes. I'm going to need another grifter check. I would like grifter and agility, please.
Agility.
So you guys can pick who makes this check. It is essentially, she is actually got information about your home. You didn't think that would be possible. But this is a fancy bank.
All right. Well, I have good grifter. My agility isn't great, but I have deception.
That would help you here.
Would
Can
I
I-
be able to use espionage and smooth talker?
I would allow espionage. I wouldn't let you use both on the same roll.
Damn, that's okay.
Do we still have the teacups with us?
No.
Okay. Then
Um,
I've got nothing.
would I get to add my accent, and or would my Master of Disguise work here?
I don't think that's relevant to the actual question she's asking.
That's fair. So with me, that would give me a D10 and 2 D6s. What would Josie have?
That would be a D8 and 2 D6s, so you're better off than me.
Okay.
All right. Your DC for this is going to be 19.
Gotta roll real well.
Hi.
That's 2 6s and a 5, so not
17.
quite. Yeah.
Would you like to raise the stakes? They're thinking about it.
Yeah. If we raise the stakes, we both re-roll, but we're still rolling. She's
We raise
re-rolling
the
and we're
stakes.
re-rolling.
We both re-roll,
Mhm.
and you get to add a d6 to what you're rolling. I also add a d6, but it gives an extra chance of ones. It also means that whatever happens, the results will be bigger. A bigger
Right.
failure, a bigger success.
What do y'all think?
Raise the stakes. Let's go for it.
Let's go.
Yeah, go big or go
Okay.
home.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. 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 Okay.
20.
God
damn.
18.
18.
Can't quite get there.
Would you like to raise the stakes? And tell me how you raised them this time.
I have a question. Also, the person that's talking about like knowing where we're from,
Mhm.
are they looking at information on like a piece of paper or something like that?
They have like a ledger open where they're writing down your details.
Okay.
So this is
But
just
it's not like they're looking
Um,
at a PC or something. They appear to
Yeah.
just be from memory.
Could
From
I
memory, okay.
actually use a plot point? Considering the fact that
Probably.
I'm from Pinion, to have it so that Josie would have picked an actual well-known family from that country.
You can't do anything that would break the time loopness of it, remember? So it can't be one that she
Yes.
would recognize. But you could use a plot point to go, I picked one that is not as well known outside
Yes.
the country, but you
Sounds
could be
good.
like, here is the reason that you don't know them.
Okay, yeah, that works.
For example, you could be like, oh, they're very, we're very eccentric. We don't like to be like talked about, but you would know us from these investments or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that. That I
Sounds
would
good to me.
definitely allow.
Sure. Yeah,
But
sounds
you'll
good.
need to speak up and come up with that
Mhm.
in game.
Yeah, our family's kind of had this whole thing for the past couple of generations. Bad press, you know, from a while back. We don't really like to be well known, but we've actually got a couple of trading vessels that have been going about for the past couple 100 years. Should know us from that, at least.
Oh, so I can definitely have a look on our register of ship's logs. What names?
That would be the Gentle Side, the, I believe, which one was my favorite one? I can't remember. There was such a pretty portrait of it in the sitting room.
You know, I don't have a memory for these things.
I know.
What would
you
I do
don't.
without her?
There was the Rainbow Ambiance and the Moonlit Crest. Those
You
are the
see,
three that I can remember.
Head over to a filing cabinet and very quickly flick. Ah, yes, of course. I do apologize, Mr. Miller, Mrs. Miller. That is entirely my own error. We do tend to deal more with, certainly when it comes to people from opinion publicized sorts. But
That's
of
all
course,
right.
we understand the need for discretion here. Certainly
To
more
be
of our
fair,
sensibilities.
We've gotten kind of used to the strange looks and the unfortunate treatment that we've gotten since getting here. We were expecting a little bit better, but it's understandable at least. I can't really blame you for it, even if it is going to kind of squander our experience today.
Well, let's see if we can turn that around, shall we? Now,
I'd
I understand
appreciate
you're
it.
interested in opening an account. Is that also a safety deposit box or simply monetary?
I do think we're gonna have to. You understand, as my darling has said, we've not always had the best treatment, so we wanted to just kind of come feel it out. We are going to need that deposit box. We're going to have to come back and deposit into it later. We don't travel with
Certainly.
our valuables.
Oh, I would never expect you to. I'm sure that you have your own security.
Of course.
But you know what? Let's change things around, put things on a different note. Would you care for a tour of the facilities?
Oh, I'm
Well,
Do we got time for that, darling?
I mean, I don't want to. I'm sure y'all want to go see the city, but I mean, I'm honestly kind of curious. You think you could sit through it?
There was that tea house down the road that closes soon.
Yeah, but if we're going to be investing here,
Oh,
I'd like to
perhaps we can certainly arrange to have one of our people go pick up something for you if you're afraid of missing out.
Oh no, it wasn't the matter of the tea itself. I just wanted to see it. It looked really pretty from the outside, but
I see.
I think
We're
we could go tomorrow.
yeah, we're going to be here for years at least. We're trying to make this our home.
Oh, you're settling. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic. I wasn't certain if this was simply a business trip or...
Oh no, we just picked up a lovely little place on Ross Lane. We're having some renovations done. It's not quite to our liking.
From what I understand, it's really quaint. Nothing compared to back home, but it's a start at least.
Okay, from Josie and from Alderose, I need both of you to make an alertness grifter check to see how she is responding to the tone you are taking.
Can I use a deception?
This is reading the situation
Oh,
rather
gotcha.
than...
Okay.
Yeah.
Jinx had something to throw
Could
in
I
there, too,
use
when there's an opening.
espionage?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
Espionage.
Uh-oh.
That's a 10, and one of them is a 1.
Okay, and...
I got a 14.
Okay. So, Josie is not able to read the room, but Alderose is. And you can see that Josie, at the very least, is coming across as rude.
Okay.
And that is why you have picked up a D4 of rude.
Okay.
You are coming into a place that thinks of itself as the fanciest, the best, the most exclusive. And you're going, oh, it's quaint. It's not as good as back home. And you can very much see this woman starting to be like, I could just fucking turn them away. It's like, we don't need their money. We work for the crown. Just, you know how sometimes you want to come at them with the same level and sometimes you want to come at them as, we're so excited to be here.
Right.
And unfortunately, you guys have picked not quite the right tack. But you've caught it before it got too advanced.
Question.
Yep.
Would this count as something? Because there's something else that I get from Mastermind, which is the bigger they are, which is when the fixer uses a complication die against you, you can spend a plot point to take that complication die and add it to your own roll as an asset. And I can step up the die by 1 if I provide a quick flashback explaining how it helps.
I haven't used this against you yet. We've only formed the complication. So if I use it against you in the future, you can absolutely do that. How are we all going in terms of how many plot points you have?
I have 3.
Since I have 1, now I have 2.
I have 0. There is something that I was trying to interject.
You came in with 3.
Oh, then I have 3.
All right. Sorry, go ahead, Raven. Sorry, that got a bit talked over. Do you want to go ahead and do what you were planning?
Yeah, so when the talk starts about whether or not to take the tour. I was planning on having Jinx kind of chime in with a, well, you know, I am taking architectural studies, and this place is so nice and so well made. I would love to see how it all comes together on the inside.
Oh, you noticed? Yes, this was actually constructed by Sir Francis of the Northern Francis family about 300 years ago.
Oh, that's fascinating. We were just reading about him.
Yes, well, I would be very excited to give you a walk around of the upper levels if you were curious, miss.
And then
regarding...
she'll look to Al and be like, do we have time?
I'm sure. And then kind of make eyes with Josie real quick to make sure that she catches what's being said. Like, I'm sure we can make time. And it's quite lovely. We're so excited to be here and to start over. It's been a lot and a lot of traveling, and we're just a little tired. So it's so kind of you to offer. And yes, I'm sure, Susie, we can go. Let's thank you kindly.
I have heard that the journey over the Oil Void Sea can be quite arduous. But I'm certain that having only just arrived recently, you're still recovering from such a momentous trip.
Between you and I, she gets a little seasick.
I see. Well, you know, sometimes, I hate to say it as one myself, but occasionally women can get a little stirred up by such matters. But I'm certain that we can, at the very least, organize a tour for yourself and your ward. And should you wish to sit out, Mrs. Miller, there is a sitting room for those who are less interested in such things that you are very free and happy to repair to at any time.
I'm not too keen on stepping anywhere away from my husband, but I do appreciate it.
Certainly.
And I would appreciate it if you would not mention my seasickness again, darling.
Sorry, won't say another word.
Okay, and with that, we're going to very quickly jump over to our other two back at the Sticky Gears. First of all, I want to know, have either of you planned anything to help our three who are in the bank at the moment? Anything that would be information you're feeding them, stuff you sort of got prepared for them, or is it all getting ready for the future that you're working on while you're sort of listening in?
I think are we looking at two things that we can come up with right now, or is it only one?
So right now you'll have had time to do two things. You'll probably have time for at least another 2 or 3 before they get out of that bank.
So I think Dulo kind of like gave information based on what they know about Clockmen from themselves, just to help with like anatomy or like stuff like that, like kind of like how they work, so they can check that out while they're in there. Other than that, I think all of Dulo's preparations are going to be for what is going to happen when we go in, because that is what Dulo prepares for as the hitter. Like, I don't think they do a lot of like planning / prepping, because they're like the fighter and the power. So
yeah, makes sense.
For Franklin, I think most of the stuff that he's listening to their conversations, getting as much information from them that he can to make something for the future. So all of their little fumbles and mess ups, he's like, oh, this is great, this is good information to have, good. But he is also like, while things are going on, if it sounds like they get into a little bit too much of a sticky situation, he's rummaging through his stuff, like looking through like old notes and anything, and like feeding them any information on how to not cause a scene and get caught by these specific things.
So have you got like a guide to etiquette open at your table right now? Like, all right, guys, you're gonna need to...
It's etiquette for dummies.
Yeah. Make sure you hold the door for the lady when she leaves the room. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we're probably going to take our break here, and when we come back, we will get into the tour of the bank, which we will get through getting you some information so that you guys can have your heist plan, and then we'll probably jump into the heist itself either at the end of this session or the start of the next one. Exciting times.
Yeah.
So we will see you very, very shortly, everybody. Have a nice break, get yourself a snack, go for a little walk around, get a drink, etc., etc. And we will see you very, very shortly in about 15 minutes.
Bye.
Hello again. We're back. Let's dive real quick back into this because we want to get through it and we got to end this stream sometime. So, hopping back to our bank party, we have the three lovely Miller family of Chuck Miller, Josephine Miller, and Suzette Miller, who are speaking with Charlene, one of the tellers here at this bank, who has offered to give them a quick tour of the facilities before they decide to put their money down. So she will stand up, move around to the door out of the office, and as she's sort of heading that way, you will see her shoot an expectant look towards the man in the room.
Could I ask for paper and something to write with the excuse that Susie is wanting to take notes?
Yeah, give me a grifter, and then your choice of attribute.
I'm gonna go with alertness.
Mm-hmm.
Could I also use counterfeiting because I am wanting to take notes in such a style that it looks like I'm taking notes on architecture, but I am actually taking notes on where things are.
Well, this is just in the asking, not in the note taking. So
Okay.
I wouldn't say so.
That is a 7 with a 1.
Okay. So you pass it, but you do get that 1. I'm going to use this to up the rude to a d6. So Charlene will say, certainly, and pulls a pad of paper off the desk, along with a fountain pen.
Okay.
We can just ensure that the pen returns to this office. I would be much obliged.
Oh, certainly. Thank you so much.
Well, as you've said, I will take you around the mezzanine so that you can enjoy the architecture. And as she's sort of heading out the door, she'll be heading towards a staircase off to one side of this lobby.
I think Al is going to be like, you this is your thing. You go, you take the lead, and is gonna offer an arm to Josie and kind of hang back a couple steps, like letting the eager young one, like who really wanted the tour, and see if we can use that as an excuse to be able to mutter like to ourselves and or the voice in our head, to just kind of pass along any extra details. Just kind of give us a little bit of space.
Okay. I will let you know that means that Jinx is going to be the one making the grifter rolls to keep this woman's attention.
Okay, no, never mind. We don't do that.
It's not my worst stat, but it's very close.
Yeah, no, okay. So
Give me something to pickpocket or open, and I will roll high all day.
I am the grifter, so I will not do that.
But yeah, she will start giving this very clearly potted and rehearsed lecture about the history of the bank. The bank's been around for 800 years. This particular version of it was designed about 300 years ago, was done by this very famous architect, etc., etc. As you're guided around the bank. Gives everyone a chance to make an alertness check to try and sort of get a vibe on what is going on here.
Okay.
This is still just the public areas of the bank. You haven't been taken to the vault or the safety deposit boxes or any of that sort of thing.
Is it just alertness?
Alertness and roll of your choice.
Okay.
14 for me.
14.
15. I keep getting
15.
a 10 and then a not great number with it.
So that's an 11, a 10, and a 1.
Oh,
Okay.
No.
So is that 2 ones that you guys have done with that roll?
I did not have a 1.
yeah, just one.
Just 1. All right.
I got a 10, which is not a 1.
I'm going to, let's see, add a new thing. Yes, I am. I'm going to add a new thing.
How's that air quality, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to add ill health. Add a D4. As Josie begins to cough quite heavily and like has to stop and bend over.
Honey, you all right there? So sorry.
Oh my.
Part of the reason
perhaps-
for our move.
Certainly. If you would like, I can continue to take Ms. Suzette around. If you would like to take her down to the sitting room, perhaps, and she can just take a small break, have a seat.
She
glass
made
of water.
She made us sterner stuff. Walking, it kind of just helps everything clear out. Won't make a scene, I promise.
All right. Continues this. So we got a 15, a 14, and what was Josie's?
11.
11. Okay. So Alderose and
Unless I
Jinx-
could add my espionage.
Oh, actually, yes, you can add espionage
Cool.
to this.
That makes that a 16.
Yeah, all right. So all of you will notice. First of all, the movement of the guards, as I said, is very off-putting. It's this sort of constant choreographed moving. But apart from that, you can also notice that there are several like Gatling gun-style machine gun nests up on these higher floors, positioned in such a way as they could be turned on the entryway into this building. This is an era before we really had fire safety regulations, so you'll also notice there is only one entrance and exit, and it is that main door.
Do I notice anything like about the windows specifically?
So first of all, the ceiling is mostly windows, about 100 feet from the ceiling to the ground floor. The windows around are tall and narrow. They are like casement-style windows where they don't really open too wide. You suspect it would be very difficult to fit a human through it, but you might be able to fit something like papers, a small item, that sort of a thing. Yeah, 10 taller windows sit in the main area, with closed offices surrounding them, and then on those higher mezzanine levels, there are sort of windows fairly regularly. They're trying to get as much of the watery, thin sunlight of the city into this building as they can. Let's see, what else would you get? Yeah, there's the large black dragon eating its own tail on the floor. You can see an exit out of the ground floor that seems to head downwards, which if you ask, Charlene will say, well, that's access to the vault is through that area. Our safety deposit boxes are on the floor above.
Wonderful. And if we kind of reach a spot where like there's a pause in the tour, you know, I'm not going to stop any of her canned thing and just, hey, and correct me if I'm, Clockmen are unique to the artifact, right? Like they
Yes.
would be, okay. So
They're all the whole artifact.
yeah,
So they're not just Labyrinth. They would
Yeah.
also be in Pinion. They would also be everywhere else.
but they wouldn't be from where we're claiming to be from.
Yes, they would.
Yeah. Oh, they would?
Pinion
Okay.
is still on the artifact.
Okay. Then, yeah, then I'm not going to ask that. Never mind.
Yes. Well, I think that about brings us to the end of our tour. If you
That's
are
most impressive. I'm getting a little dizzy just walking through this place.
Yes, it's from what I understand, a lot of the buildings where you're from aren't built to the same scale.
Oh, and y'all, I don't want to say this in the way it's going to sound, but there's a lot more individuality to a lot of the folks working where we're from. Everyone's so like uniform, and it's just impressive that.
Oh, you're admiring our security.
Yeah, I mean,
Dragon firm. Yes.
Yeah, I just seen him kind of move, and it's like, is that that?
Yes. Well, Pendragon prides itself on its military uniformity. There are 2 watchwords. The idea being that any single one of them could be replaced, and it would not affect the job being done. There is no such thing as an individual guard. There is only the service.
Mighty different from what we're used to.
Jinx is just like nodding along, not really saying much, but nodding along as things are being explained, and then nodding along to everything that Al's saying.
Well, darling, you should remember that in some of the higher up institutions, they are in Pinion. They've been there before.
That's true. I just haven't seen that. Y'all must have some really big clients here. This is mighty impressive.
Oh, certainly. We bank for the family, the royal family, as well as most members of the aristocracy and the occasional select businessmen, of which I believe is a clientele that you are wishing to join.
Exactly. Yeah, we've got, I think we got enough to set down a deposit. We didn't want to, come right out with everything, but get things established and then have our money wired over.
Certainly. And she'll take you back into that office and begin setting up an account for you. So you hand over all of your money scraped together. You are all flat broke. As she very casually takes, essentially all of your life savings, folds it over and just slides it into an envelope and then hands it off to a random worker.
Hey, Rand, I have a question real quick.
Yeah, of course.
In Jinx's ear, they hear Franklin ask, "Do you see a map of the facility in the office? And if you do, see if you can try and copy it down."
Okay. Do I see
discreetly?
A map? No, but you do see those architectural blueprints put up as art, sort of a look. So the building from every angle, sort of an idea.
I definitely want to try to copy that down. And do so in a sketch sort of a way. Mm-hmm. So it looks like I'm studying, not
Could I get a thief alertness from Jinx as well?
Yeah. Can I use counterfeiting for this?
This is a different thing, actually.
Oh, okay.
This is something that's happening at the same time that I think you would notice.
Gotcha.
And I would keep chattering to Charlene, too.
Yeah. You find out that she is sort of a young lady. She is affianced. She's about to be married to a member of the aristocracy. She is marrying up. And she's quite full of herself because of that.
That is an 11.
11. So you will notice that the envelope with your guardian's money is taken over to a chute, which is opened. The envelope is placed into it and closed, and you hear it tumble.
Okay. Interesting.
So you're not sure exactly where it's gone, but you know whatever goes in that chute goes somewhere that will eventually go to the vault. And the chute itself is not too small. It's maybe so wide. Which, if you were very small and very agile, you might be able to get down.
Jinx just happens to be both of those things.
Oh, we just don't want to go Winnie the Pooh in that. That would be bad.
That would be bad.
Oh, bother. Surrounded by gunfire.
But yeah, hearing she's freshly affianced will be, and we'll be doing like trying to play up that foreigner thing of like, is his index finger longer than his ring finger? Because if so, you gotta be careful.
I'm afraid I've never heard that one before.
Oh, really? Oh, well. Polite company, I won't say anything then.
Much appreciated. But yes, is there anything else you're trying to get information on here?
I would have been trying to look at any uniforms, name tags, not necessarily of security, because obviously that's pretty locked down, but if there's
like the bank uniform itself.
The bank uniform and like not servant entrance, but like workers and like places that they go that, the clientele do not.
Yeah. You've definitely gotten a good idea on all of that because everything is a very well-oiled machine in terms of things that handed off to other people who handed off to other people, etc. You get the feeling, you could definitely replace one of the links in this chain. There are just too many people for you to know everybody.
Obviously.
The uniforms are quite distinctive, but you think if you had a good tailor, you could probably manage. You don't think you could do it on your own on such a tight turnaround because you guys are sort of planning on doing this in the next day or 2 days. You would need like an overnight effort from you and at least one other person.
Right.
But you've definitely got like the shapes, the colors, like you reckon you will be able to.
I have like memorized how the name
resources.
tag looks.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Jinx is definitely looking at things like name tags and badges and things like that too to try and counter them later.
Those will definitely be the sort of things Jinx can roll counterfeit on.
Yes.
And then I think kind of as we kind of reach a moment, Al will lean forward and just say, "Hey, do you mind if I ask something that it's going to clearly show that we're new in town, but I just don't like being ignorant."
Mr. Miller, please. I think it's fairly evident that you're new in town. It shan't be held against you.
I much appreciate. Everyone's wearing more dark colors than usual, and there's like armbands.
Yes. Well, the Queen, God rest her soul, passed away early this morning, or possibly late last night. Such information hasn't yet been released by the palace, but as such, the city's in mourning.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Is there anything we should
side, your ward will get to experience a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of seeing a new queen be crowned.
Oh,
that's fascinating. I mean, that it's awful, but that's also very fascinating.
Yes, this Sunday. So
Sunday.
Very soon.
Well, that's mighty quick.
Yes. Well, we wouldn't like to leave the city without a head of state, would we?
That makes sense. Well, anything we should know? Anything we should be doing don't want to cause offense?
Well, I would always recommend that you not speak ill of the royal family.
Of course not.
Other than that, simply to be aware that the people here are in mourning. We're all missing someone who is much like a mother or a grandmother to the majority of the population.
Right. All right. Thank you
Treat them
very
as you
much.
would anyone who you'd heard their beloved grandmother had recently passed.
Yep, that tracks. All right, so Sunday
is the coronation. Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to. Maybe we can get you another dress.
That would be lovely.
Yes, the parade will actually pass by this bank on Sunday.
Oh.
So if you wish for a good view, lining the streets here is quite fun. Of course, we tend to let the younger folks get right to the front, wave the flag, etc. Enjoy the streamers and so on. But yes, quite exciting. Passers-by here, of course, because the cathedral is just down the way, which is where the coronation itself takes place.
Oh. I'll bet that would be mighty fancy.
Indeed, indeed. In fact, it's sort of a once-in-a-lifetime operation for many of us here at the bank as well, considering that for the majority of the Queen's reign, or the King's reign in some earlier occasions, the crown jewels are held here within a specialized vault.
Oh, my! That's got to be a heck of responsibility, huh?
Indeed.
Oh, and like Pat and Josie still coughing. I'm so sorry. It's part of the reason we came here is the supposed to be a little bit easier on the lungs.
Oh, certainly. If you've moved up to the headwaters, I think you'll find the quality of the air. And of course, I'm sure you're planning on seeing a chirurgeon at some point.
Absolutely.
Regarding whether such things need changing or fixing. Do you mind if I ask? I don't really know with opinion, but do you have gene surgery over there?
A bit. It's not. I don't think nearly as sophisticated as here.
Well, needless to say that simple debilitating diseases such as the one you're currently suffering from shouldn't be nearly as much of an issue here as they might have been at home. And you see something in her eye whir and click, and Josie, you are suddenly aware that this entire time she has known exactly what is wrong with you.
Oh. Well, that's good news now, isn't it, honey?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think
Certainly.
Al is going to kind of lean forward and be like, all right, so do you mind if I ask you something a little friend to friend, nothing to do with business?
Well, as your banker, I am in your confidence, much as a solicitor would be. So please, feel free to unburden yourself.
Well, one of the many reasons that we're here is young Susie, is coming of age, and I was wondering if you could and it's just gonna do the fatherly thing of like, who I gotta watch out for, who's the trouble, who you know, and just kind of, and we don't have to play it out right, but is just kind of doing that to distract from any other shady things we might have asked or anything that might have been weird.
She will also hand over a card at some point, a business card, which is for a chirurgeon, so someone who does surgeries to add gene modifications, or clockwork augments, but this one would only be gene modifications, considering the circle of society you're within. And will sort of probably not too subtly in that way of someone who's like, this doesn't bother anyone here, so why would it bother anybody sort of a way. She goes, yes, well, a disease such as that one might be a death sentence back in Pinion, but here, a few simple injections, a couple of simple modifications, and you'll be right as rain.
That's appreciated. Thank you.
And great. And thank you so much. We are very much in your debt. Oh,
certainly. And when you return with the rest of your funds, you will be with safety deposit box 1542.
1542. Thank you so much. All right, ladies. We should get you a lie down and a nice little appointment with the. It holds up the card.
And Jinx will hand back the fountain pen very carefully.
Miss.
Oh, thank you very much for letting me borrow it. This has all been very educational.
Naturally. But have a lovely day. And I'm sure if you hurry, and she pulls out a little very fancy pocket watch, which is, Al spent like a solid 2 hours a couple of days ago looking at pocket watches. You look at that and you're like, that pocket watch is worth about the same amount as we put into this bank account today. She's like, if you hurry, I think the tea shop should still be open for another half hour.
Oh, that is... Look at how efficient you are. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Mr. Miller, Mrs. Miller, Miss Miller. And again, she does like that little polite curtsy, shows you to the door of her office, and then sort of lets you. Oh, the last thing you'll be issued is one of those passport type things. They will literally take a photograph of you, put it into the passport, and then also a photograph of Josie, and we'll put that in the like other people who are allowed to access this account, basically. They won't let Susie put her picture in because she's too young.
Yeah.
But essentially the idea is you're the main account holder, but your wife is allowed to come and access on your behalf, is the idea.
I need to note here that Jinx is incredibly tempted to pickpocket that watch, but resists the temptation.
Would you like to make me a thief plus willpower roll?
No.
Against yourself?
I think you should. I think you should.
I think, like, because Jinx and Al have known each other long enough, like, Al sees that look and is like...
All right.
I'm not going to give it a high difficulty. I'm just going to roll 2d6. DC of 6.
6 and a 4, so it's a 10.
So you're fine. You feel the itching in your fingers, but you control yourself.
Come along now, Susie Q. Let's be on our way.
If you want the watch that bad, I'll buy you one.
We have a perfectly good watch at home.
Watch at home is the one that doesn't work yet.
Julo is the one at home.
Dulo is the watch at home.
Got a Dulo brand waiting for you at the house.
Oh my god.
All right.
Top of the line, baby.
And then
All right,
I sure hope
so,
Roland's still waiting for us.
Roland is indeed waiting for you.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
I love
You get
Roland,
out.
Your Honor.
Once again, the sweat on this man's face, and he's just like, he looks at the three of you, and you can just see in his eyes, he's like, what the fuck did you do? What did you do this time? What did you do this time? Like, he doesn't say anything, but he's like, welcome back.
Al just gives him that look, like, every
Where
time.
can I take you, sir? I don't know you. Where can I take you today?
Oh, we gotta get us to Ross Lane.
Visible swallow.
Yeah, get us to Ross Lane. We gotta, and we'll load everyone up, and then as
Certainly.
the Lady Zero will lean in and be like, actually take us to.
And he gets up, cracks the reins a little bit, and the horse starts to trot off. For Josie's sake, you will just automatically clock. This horse is so well taken care of. Like, this horse is well treated, well maintained, like quite a fast, agile
Oiled
horse.
nightly.
Yeah, oiled nightly. The hooves are replaced on a regular basis, etc. Yeah, like just because you're a cowboy, like you notice this stuff.
And I
Is
think
this an enclosed cab?
It is, yeah. So I think those
Okay.
old-fashioned like Hanson cab where the driver sits out the front and then you guys have a closed black box, basically.
So as soon as we are out of like anybody being able to see or hear us inside that, Jinx just is like, oh, that was awful.
you did so well. I'm so proud of you. And then like taps,
really good.
Thank you.
taps like, Franklin, did you get all of that?
Yes, I did.
There are mounted turrets in there pointing towards the door.
And it sounds like they have a menagerie of guards that they keep in rotation.
And they move, no offense to though, like clockwork.
That is how we are made. It is not offensive. I can take the guards.
No, we don't fight.
This is going up against the entire Pendragon military, basically. You are a great Dulo, but numbers outnumber you.
And they will turn the machine guns on you.
But if it gets the rest of you out and away, that is fine.
No.
How did you meet him? None of us deserve him.
He's,
I'll be
he's literally the best thing that's come into my life.
I'll be entirely honest with you. I want y'all getting out of this.
Yes.
And you.
Folds arms.
You sound. Are you okay, Josie?
I'm fine.
You don't,
don't
eat.
sound
You
fine.
don't drink. You
Lie
only
detected.
want this for the reputation. Starting to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
What's starting to make sense?
How much longer
me
do
in,
you
please.
have?
This is a last-ditch effort, isn't it?
All right. Yeah. Sure. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. You're our friend.
I've
More
been dealing with
important
this
than
shit
that,
my
you're our
entire
crew.
life. I've been dealing with this shit my entire life. The entire time. My lungs are one of the few things that are still natural. I'm just...
Uh-huh.
Well, then we'll succeed in the mission and fix it.
I don't need to fix it.
Do you not want to fix it?
I mean, what am I gonna do? Keep replacing shit? Eventually I'm gonna run out of shit to replace.
It holds up the card. Gene,
They
get
can
money,
fix
a couple shots.
And then you'd be like me.
No, not quite.
Let's. Robot buddies.
That's the buddy cop movie after this is Robo, Josie, and Duolo.
Back to back. The only way you can tell them apart is one of them's wearing a cowboy hat.
Trying to get money to fix me is part of what got my parents killed. It's the main thing about what got my family killed. That's it.
We're not
I
done.
want one last hurrah, one last little score, something that people remember me by.
So, from the sounds of it, you want their death to be in vain, then? Because
It
if they
wasn't.
died trying to save you,
They did.
why are you giving up on yourself?
I was
then?
8. That was nearly 20 years ago.
8 and 20 is not old. You have more life to live. And you want to give it up just for pride?
You say that because you have family. You have shit to live for.
You have family
I-
too.
I don't really have family. I'm an orphan.
I don't have family either.
I definitely don't want you to die.
I am Clockmen. I don't have family either.
Y'all
And family
either have
isn't
each
just
other.
about blood.
Y'all either have each other, or you have your friends. She says,
We
looking
wouldn't
at Jinx.
We
You
wouldn't
have your
have
connections.
each other without you.
And you
You
are.
brought us together.
Yeah, how many days ago?
Besides
I'm
the point.
fine. You don't become
are
family
not.
in less than 6 months.
Okay,
That's it.
granted, but you're on my crew.
Mhm.
That's all that matters.
I
A
told
lot.
you I would protect you.
A lot can happen in 3 days. Pointed look.
And if he and if they promise so bad, if they
Duolo
promise
Duolo
to
just.
protect you,
Oh wait, we're not in person. Duolo can't point at
Oh.
Al's neck.
All right, I'll cut you
Oh.
a deal. Okay? Just a square deal. We pull this off. We get all your shit settled first. And I don't mean part of it, I mean all of it.
Mhm.
All of it gets settled and there's enough money left over. Great. Maybe we'll look into something. But for now, my original plan still stands.
I am
counter offer.
a loophole. I do not have anything to settle from this money. So
I have a
can-
counter offer for you. One of the things that I would like to settle is your health.
That was not your original goal, so no.
Goals
Again.
change.
Again.
You said all. You said all.
I knew you were going to piss me off.
Jinx
Fine.
kind of chimes in too. It's like, my goal is to just do the job because I was bored and this sounds really fun. So if we do the job, my stuff's done.
My goal was also to do the job. And Josie being around longer means more interesting jobs.
Yeah.
You can't just come into people's lives and then just die. Sorry.
You'd be surprised how many people do that.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I said it, I knew I was lying.
We all understand that, but we choose to keep you around.
We'll talk about this after.
And I think
Alright.
that's where we will cut it for today.
Woo!
Everyone going, no, Josie, you have to. I
We're
just
all
love-
having-
as the camera pulls out and we just see Roland at the front of the cab looking extremely confused at what he's hearing coming from inside. Just like, wait, what?
I feel like he glances back.
Sweating deeply. Just like, wait, is there a dead woman? No, she's still alive. Okay.
She's still alive, just dying. Don't worry about it.
It's not,
He looks
it's
back.
not- it's not like a dead girl in my cab. That's okay.
Roland just sitting there as we're all having our like straw hats with Robin
Right.
in Annie's lobby moment.
He looks back just as Al, like knowing it might get him hit, tries to put an arm around Josie.
And then it's just the eyebrows go like,
Yep.
wait, what? So thank you all very
Beautiful.
much. Next week,
Hello, Raiders.
we heist
Hi.
some bank.
Hell yeah.
Hello, Raiders.
Woo!
You just missed a game.
Heist,
We get to heist the bank in this bank heist
Yeah.
game.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It
The
was-
fourth of
and
four
save
sessions.
our
you get
friends.
done.
Die trying.
it was so funny, Ran, when you said Sunday. In my head, I immediately went Sunday.
Same. I did the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
It's
thank you
lovely.
all for playing. We're just gonna quickly go around, do our outros, etc. So my name is Ran. I have been your game master. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a writer. I'm a game designer. You can find me pretty much anywhere at Ran Plays Games. I'm about to release a bunch of stuff in the next 2-3 weeks, including a one-player cozy RPG where you play a witch living in a forest for a year, making potions and etc., finding a familiar. That'll be fun. And also on the completely other side of my interest, a deeply eldritch horror campaign that you can play where all of the plants want to kill you. So, pick your poison. How do you feel about plants? Thank you again to everybody for tuning in to watch. Thank you for playing to my players. This has been the Grand Labyrinth Heist, a Nerdsmith Presents production run on the Leverage system, Leverage RPG system. Highly recommend for your cons, capers, and general silliness. And now we'll get our players to say goodbye.
Hey, well, I'm Kay Purcell. I use she and they pronouns. I work on video games by day and do TTRPG stuff every free chance I get. You can find me in chat and most places at Chaotic Wholesome Presents or just Chaotic Wholesome. We just announced our Pride charity game series. Every Thursday in June, we're going to be doing a different game benefiting Black and Pink with Candace, the Magnificent, Nicotine, DM Jazzy Hands, and Captain Krail as our 4 GMs. There's going to be another table announced, and I can't wait to share our players with you all. I can't believe the people that we have playing. So please come by. We also do every Tuesday the Table Talk Show, where we talk all things TTRPGs from indies to intersectionality. I was playing Alderos, right? The not at all mauled around the neck former gentleman. He uses he and they pronouns, and this has been fun and stressful, and we need to herd your dice, Ran. They're bad.
Ooh.
We're mad at them.
Yeah.
People always say that.
They're not nice at all.
I didn't roll anything this session.
Sorry, buddy.
Should have been here last session.
Hello, you beautiful people. My name is Keon. I played Franklin this game. I had an amazing time, and my dog is currently, he can tell I'm doing my outro, so he's like, hey, Dad, love me. If you are looking for me, you can find me on all things internet at Brother Keon. That is BRUTHAQUEON. I am a photographer, a game designer, and I also do a whole lot of TTRPG things. If you're looking for a little bit more horror, you can find me on Sunday down here on the Twitch at Batty Bards, and we will be doing another episode of Trophy Dark, where a beach episode has gone wrong, and we are currently under the water in a submarine that is going to kill us. But yeah, other than that, I had fun.
Hello, I'm Jenny. You've probably seen me on Nerdsmith before. I have been here for a very long time. I use she, they pronouns. You just saw me playing Rosie Josie, the mastermind of our little group, who we learn has a much shorter time limit than initially thought. I am a voice actor, a D&D character artist, and a writer. So if you have any projects that you need some help on, or maybe some D&D commissions that you want done, please hit me up. My socials are primarily Cerulean Siren 19 on twitter.com or X.
It's Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Shitter.
Or Cerulean Siren 97 at Blue Sky. So if you have me on Discord, if you're part of the Nerdsmith Discord, you can find me on there. Feel free to message me. If I don't reply, I'm not ignoring you. I swear. I don't get notifications sometimes, and then my ADHD decides that the notifications on my computer do not go into notifications in my brain. So that's what I've got. I had a lot of fun tonight, and I'm really excited for next week.
Hello, y'all. I'm freshly rebooted after a week of being knocked out. I'm Derek. I use they, ze, and he pronouns. I play Duolo, who uses they and z pronouns. You can find me over on my own AP, Queers and Spears. That's QUERSNSPEARS. And also on Sunday over now at the Misadventurers League, playing Animon's story in a Digidescent Tale. We will be live every Sunday at 9 a.m. EST. Come by, meet my character if you love Duolo. They're very different from Duolo. I very much promise that. I am a TTRPG performer, AP runner, and also writer and future psychiatrist. So come on down and chat up with me anywhere on Twitter or also on Twitter at Derek Does RP, which is DERRYK DOES RP. And I can't wait for next week.
Awesome. I am Raven Evermore. I am a voice actor. There's a whole long list of things that I do. I'm a voice actor, I am a writer, I'm an editor, I am a professional game master and a game designer. You can find my writing right now over on my Ko-fi, which is just ko-fi.com/RAVVYN. I have a bunch of short stories over there right now. And oh yes, I use she and they pronouns. And I had an absolute blast playing Jinx, also she and they pronouns tonight. This was really, really fun. I cannot wait for next week for things to go horribly wrong and then hopefully very, very well at the end. That's what I'm hoping for. But you can find me over on Twitter and Blue Sky and Discord at the Raven, THERAVVYN, and that is me.
Fantastic. Again, thank you all for watching. Thank you again to our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, Board Anvil, and Hero Forge for sponsoring the stream. We really appreciate it. Check out Nerdsmith's other stuff. We got a bunch of cool stuff going on. And come back next week for our thrilling finale where this bank heist hopefully heists the bank. We can't be sure. That or Franklin performs surgery on on Josie while she's asleep. We'll see.
Hey,
We can promise it'll be gay.
it will
for
be
sure.
gay. It will be
It'll
very
be
gay.
and it'll be Victorian. Those are the two things I can be sure of. So have a great week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.